The legends of memory and storage. Crucial brings you the ultimate performance in gaming. Legendary products. Precision engineered. For speed and stability. Crucial ballistics.
Welcome to the Esports Challenger Series, presented by AMD Ryzen and Windows 11, and powered by Crucial and our broadcast partner of Loco. After what was a marathon of a series, 4.5 hours, it took reckoning to 2-1 Lethal Esports. We now move on to our second banger of the day, and we've got Medal Esports taking on Orangutan. Orangutan, they came into this tournament looking damn hungry, dispatching a Venadi army in a ruthless fashion. We're going to have to see if they can keep that same composure now as they take on the more experienced team of Medal Esports. Of course, I can't talk you through this alone. I'm your caster, Kramer 3. I'm joined by the extremely talented Baba. How are you feeling about this one?
Yeah, I'm doing great, Kramer, and also what a way for Orangutan to win a 2-0, ending
Mhm.
up on the first group stages. Now, the second match itself, we will see Orangutan go up against Team Metal Esports. Now, talk about Metal Esports' journey from first and second quals. Metal Esports couldn't get to succeed winning their first qualifiers, getting the spot, but they did somehow manage to win on the second qualifiers, and now we finally get to see them head off into the group stages where you get to see go up against Team Orangutan. So I'm very excited and also quite curious to know whether if Metal
Mhm.
Esports can handle out Orangutan's performance.
Yeah, absolutely right. And one of the things I do notice between these two teams is that the likes of Ezzy and the likes of Ember are the two players to watch out for, in my opinion. Both of them have a little bit of consistency issues, but for the most part, they're pretty good. But it's kind of every 1 in 3, every 1 in 4 games, they just wake up. And these guys absolutely slay when they are feeling it. In fact, recently, Metal were able to 2-1 Orangutan earlier in this month, almost 2 weeks ago now. And that was thanks to Ezzy being able to just tear through Orangutan. We'll have to see if he can mimic that success in this matchup coming up, though.
Yes, folks, and let's not forget these are the four players who will have a chance to head on in towards the TEC arena, and also it also comes down to the same to you folks. Go ahead, grab your free tickets right now, scan the QR code, and ensure that you guys have registered for the event as well for 12th, 13th, and 14th August. This will be one of the most biggest LAN event in the gaming industry, and we cannot wait for you guys to see it.
Bubba, are you going to be there?
Yeah, I am.
No,
Absolutely.
even better. All the more reason to be there. You get to meet Baba. I might be there. We'll see if the UK visa office decides to let me through. But if they do, I'll also be there. And Sean, our producer, will also be there. All the more reason to go. And of course, who doesn't like a good gaming event? They're always fun. We've got all sorts of stuff going on. There's even cosplay competitions. And I'm still trying to negotiate with Hellranger to try and get him to do a maid cosplay with me. Unfortunately, no progress has been made on that front. But we'll have to see if we can convince him as we get closer to the event. Of course, let's take a moment to look at the price split. Of course, that is a lot of money up for grabs. 75,000 Indian rupees for first place, with 40,000 second and 25,000 in third. Out of interest, Baba, when you the way numbers are formatted in kind of when written in rupees, they put the comma after two zeros for your second, I guess, group of them.
Mm-hmm.
Is Does that change how you pronounce it, or was that still read as
Uh,
1,500,000 as
yeah,
the total price for?
technically it does. When it comes to international, yes, you have hundreds, thousands, and then millions. When it comes to Indian standards, we have unit tens, 100,000, 10,000, lakhs, 10 lakhs. You know, just the normal jest. So for 15, it's 15 lakh rupees, and if it is crore, we might see an extra double zeros coming in from our end. So it's
What does the
that's
lakh mean?
lakh means it's more of like lakh as in like 100 grand.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay,
so
okay.
100,000 rupees means 1 lakh rupees.
Hmm.
So 15 lakh rupees means 150,000 grand.
Right, so
150.
you get 1 lakh for being the MVP of this tournament.
Yeah, we do. 1
There you
lakh
go.
rupees for the MVP.
All the more reason to be the MVP of this tournament. What I
Hmm.
found particularly, and of course this has sort of come after a kind of multiple esport titles, after multiple tournaments, and you could probably say the same in your experience as well, is when you have online qualifiers followed by LANs, you rarely see the MVP get established until you're kind of halfway through the LAN. So if you are hedging your bets now, it would be a really good time to try and spot out those outlying players who you really think can do well here. For me, I'm riding with Tesseract. I think he's kind of a safe option to go for when it comes to talent. But in terms of players who might be looking to snatch it away, Ember's another very good shout. I mean, Antidote as well is also a player to watch out for. All these names and only one title to take. We'll have to see how they are able to do as the tournament progresses. But for now, let's look at this series: Metal versus Orangutan. Where, on which battlegrounds will our war be staged? It's going to be Haven, Fracture, then Icebox. Baba, this is a lot to talk about.
Yeah, it is a lot. talk about Map Haven itself, I can understand why Team Orangutan would have gone from it. I mean, they've had a they've had a long they've had a long history on map number one, Haven. So, if we see since Metal Esports will be on defense, high likely chances where we might see a Neon being picked because they'll be going on attack first. So it obviously does make
Mhm.
sense. And in second half. Technically, we'd see a team Metal Esports go on a similar double sentinel pick.
You're absolutely right. The one thing I'm interested in is, as you mentioned, the neon from Orangutan. They've brought it out twice now against True Rippers and Anadi Army. We cast that game of Anadi Army yesterday, and oh my god, was it one-sided. Even though even though, let's be honest, Orangutan were a little bit quiet in their sort of opening to Haven. Once they got the ball rolling, they were just unstoppable. Actually unstoppable. And I can't help but think that for an RD army, they may face the same problems which Meta will face, which is a orangutan or to roster that rides really well with momentum. And so if you lose these kind of first 3 to 5 rounds, then you're in big trouble.
Yeah, yes, it is Kramer. But also, let's not forget about map number two, Fracture, which has been picked by Metal Esports, and talk about their performance on map Fracture. They've done a lot of great job accordingly. I mean, their compositions are looking great, even their teamwork, momentum, everything is looking good. So I really can understand why Metal Esports would opt out for it. But the decider is where the fun stuff happens, Kramer. Icebox. What do you think about that map?
I love it. Bearing in mind each region, whether they like it or not, they have a playstyle, right? They have a methodology, and for APAC, for SA, it's aggression. We always see these flary plays where they're able to run out and they're able to kill everyone as if without breaking a sweat, really. And well, this map right here of Icebox is exactly that. And it just complements any form of aggression, which for Orangutan, as we saw yesterday, works for them. For Medal, what's nice as well is it's one of the highest win rate maps. So this is a very even veto, despite the fact the maps are kind of polar opposites. The one that we haven't mentioned though is the Fracture, where you have only a 30% win rate for Medal, but they play it all the time. It's experience, even though it's not been the best, most of success. Whereas for Orangutan, they've really shied away from it, only really playing it twice. Last time they played Fracture, it was against Medal. They lost. Baba, it's a difficult position here.
Yeah, it might be a difficult position for Metal Esports, but they've came all the way from second qualifiers. So of course you would find a lot of the competition that might head on in against Orangutan. Yes, of course, Orangutan is a dominating team in the international seasons, but Metal Esports. This might be their chance, and who knows, they might be able to prove a stronger map haven itself. Look at the agents pick itself, Tremor. What do you think about this?
I am very surprised that we're not seeing a Neon from Orangutan. It sort of favors just how aggressive they are. The one thing I want to highlight though is you'll notice that Tesseract isn't going to be on the Sova. I know what you're thinking, Baba. What the hell? What backwards world have we woken up in? Tesseract's always on Sova. He plays Sova when Sova isn't meant to be played, and he does it well. But the coach has stepped in, and the coach has thwarted Tesseract's pleas, and is now going to be playing on the Sova. The doctor standing in for Aduka, who is currently hospitalized, so our thoughts, prayers, and wishes will go out to Aduka to get well soon. But for now, the doctor's in the house, and he's on that Sova.
Yeah, McCramer, the only question that I have to ask is who will be getting the doctor's medicine and who will make sure that an apple a day would keep the doctors away? I know when it comes to pun wise, I don't do a really great job at it, but all in all, let us find out whether if Metal Esports can succeed in winning the opposition map pick on the side of Team Orangutan. Well, as we've seen the performance from Orangutan in the previous matchup, they were dominating 2-0 up against Team Anadi Army. Can we see? Can we get to see them do it back once again when they're going up against Team Metal Esports?
I think that bearing in mind the last series we saw these two teams play against each other, it's going to be fresh on their minds. Furthermore, is both of these teams have had it was such a close series. Mimicking it is going to be very, very difficult. And I think that, bearing in mind, something that Metal may be able to abuse here is Sky, who's the analyst for Orangutan. Now, usually, I think you would expect if the coach stands in, analyst takes the coach slot. That's not happening here. Sky, well, he's in the YouTube chat, so I know for a fact he's not in the coach in the coach slot, which means that Orangutan definitely don't have a coach going into this, which makes it quite easy to abuse. If you're on medal, if you can kind of play as aggressively as possible, play as disrespectfully as possible, and try and tilt Orangutan, you could be in a really strong position.
Yeah, even more so. What's more interesting is that Middle Esports, aka Tricky, picking a raise on a map like Haven is what it really makes what it makes me, bringing out the curiosity a lot. Like Middle Esports, this is a different comp that we're seeing. Not a lot do we get to see, a raise being brought out, especially from Metal's end. So whatever strategy that they have to put up against Team OG, I really can't wait to see what kind of performance that they'll deliver on map number 1 itself.
You're right, and on topic of, before we even get into map number 1, I believe you have a brief pause before we start. On that note, do apologise. It was actually Orangutan who won that matchup on Fracture. It was 13-11 though, so there's the point. It's so close, we didn't even know who won for a moment there, which should really emphasise that you're not going to be able to repeat kind of score lines. You rarely get to repeat score lines even when they're one-sided. So this is really going to be at a toss of a dime as to who's going to be able to take this. I think going in, bear in mind we are going into Haven, it's one of Orangutan's best maps. If Medal can get just a couple of rounds, they're in a great position.
Yeah, they would be. And it always comes down to the pistol rounds to determine whether if Metal Esports can get the upper hand, or will it be at the hands of Team Orangutan. And what's funny enough, it actually does rhymes though. Metal Esports, Orangutan. But anyways, we will proceed with round number 1. Pistol round is in, which means the action will commence. Not wasting any time at all, especially with the information being given from Fades' end. And now Tricky, playing close as ever. It's a bit too late though to give off the boom bot. And that early pick from Shooter might give them the opening for them to proceed to the A side.
Fox, a bit of a flank here. It's expected. Tesseract is able to punish it. Yeah, it's a bit laboured, a few body shots, but hey, the trades are there. And the one thing to mention as well is when it comes to the Doctor, it is not a he's not an inexperienced fellow, shall we say. He served a brief stint on Todak. I've got him a few times with Kingsman. After that, he was on Action PH as well. He only stopped being a pro player when he came into being a coach. So he is still going to be very warm. I'm very thankful he got that kill, because if I just hyped him up for him to die to Madman there, that would have been a bit awkward. But it's Orangutan to take the pistol round 1-0 with a solid start.
Yeah. Doctor already, just like you said, being on one of the most notable teams, I mean, we even get to see it from his performance itself. 2 kills already with the Sova. And now what's even more interesting is that we see a lot of different weapons being brought out, especially from Shooter on round number 2, who will be bringing in the Phantom this time, and a Marshal at the hands of Tesseract. What will be the next spot from Metal? Oh boy. Already with the early peak, that's got Vexy down. There's a lot of attempts being made from the A side, interestingly, the hands of Metal Esports. They just gone haywire on the A side. No one's holding on B, neither on C. The only thing that Orangutan doesn't know is that they have no information regarding this. They've only picked out one, so they might think that there might be some on B side or even on C. And look at the attempt here that Metal Esports is doing. It's actually making me a bit concerning. Execute will happen from C, which means that the defenders on the side of Metal Esports have to hold their ground. They have their good amount of man counts here on round number 2 itself. Yeah. But Shooter is still here with the Phantom. Pre-fire that 2 through the wall. He gets to find one, and with it, we've seen the post plan at the hands of Orangutan.
This is now going to be interesting because you've already got Tesseract on the flank here. It's going to be almost a deathmatch for Medal here. And you see him just get wiped out. Tesseract, again, laboured, going for the body shots, but it doesn't matter. He makes it work for Orangutan. That's a 2-0 lead. And what I really like is how they set up for the execution to see there. Once they realised that Medal were in the vicinity, but not on the site, they just ended up crunching and then just spamming those smokes to make sure that Medal had no way to make a bode back onto the site until Orangutan allowed them to do it. So really, really nice bit of tech there. On top of the fact that Tesseract was able to flank from B, it means that being able to retrieve a weapon, go off and hide and save it, is no longer an option either. You're forcing Medal. While they do have a good buy here, but look at the money. All of them sub 250 credits here with another huge dive over to the C side.
What's even more problematic is that for Team Orangutan, they're looking so strong. Doctor, he just gave the medicine towards Badman, which means that the controller is already down at the hands of Metal Esports. Now, with the controller down and out, there won't be any lurks. They will be safe to ensure that none of those risky plays might come in from Metal Esports' end. So what maximum they could do is just hold their ground and see whether if they can find an opening pick or two. What's even more interesting is that we even got to see Ember use all of the 4 stars and just pick it up the immediate when we try to see them execute from the C side. So he has all the 4 stars. He could use the smokes, gravity well, everything is in the hands of Team Orangutan. And now they're just waiting for Metal Esports, or they're just waiting for that execute immediately.
Box on point blank. That's a spike carry to be taken down as well. Is being pinged a lot before he falls there. A bit of a blunder on Orangutan's behalf. 3 versus 2. Now, this is certainly not unwinnable for Orangutan, but they just need Metal to make even the slightest of mistakes to punish. There's that swing, there's the shutdown. Ember falls. It's all on Shooter. 1 versus 3, but instantly given, this is revealed by the fade, and that'll be a quick shutdown. Metal, they make it their first on the board off the back of a fairly heavy investment. But what's interesting, Baba, is keeping 3 players alive. They're in a really good position economically to set themselves up for this defensive half.
Yeah, absolutely, Kramer. Metal Esports, they were in need for that win. And the timing for that to understand what execute that OG were going on through was also very much crucial. Even though the controller was down, they had to make do with a post-plan situation. And, you know, I have to say, God Vexy has done an amazing job at giving information, and that information was crucial for them to succeed in that post-plant. A job well done for them, and now they get their decent amount of weapons from their end. But with the OG Tesseract still in play and an aggressive play from Fox and Tricky, will finally get a good amount of kills for them to survive in this round itself. Looking good. Fox also has the walls, which means he'll be able to block out the entirety execute from the B side itself. But do they have control on Garage? And God Vexy, he's the only one who's holding that particular spot. If he gets that information, he will find it out nonetheless. Crawler will be there, so does the Aftershock. And now it's just the trade-outs of information and also the utility. But do they know that the spike has been dropped down from the mid-side?
2 players left here. Orangutan are really hoping that Metal make a mistake, but honestly, off the back of that aggression in mid, Bada, I'm really liking Metal at the moment. They're really, really doing quite well, and even though they are slightly overextending here and there when probing for information, the point is they've been able to get to the crossbar, they've been able to set up on this site, and they've been able to just set up one another for these kills. A really good start, and a really nice way to prevent that Orangutan momentum, which is something that I think we've all learned to fear. We've also just had news in from Aduka, which is right now he has an appendicitis. However, that is luckily quite an easy procedure, so he should be all good in a short amount of time. Unfortunately, he just has to miss this game. The reason Sky isn't in the coach slot is because the way registration works is the doctor is registered as the coach, so he can only be the coach. But he's standing in, which means that there now is no coach, which is why Sky can't do it. Unfortunately, that's just the rule set that we have to abide by. But nonetheless, around saying they're making good of what is quite a nice situation.
Yes, they are. And now they're just not missing any time at all. Post plan already from the B side, a quick control. And now they've got their angles covered. Now for Metal Esports, this is a very difficult task for them to go ahead with. Nightfall is present. They have all the lineups that they need from Doctors, and Shooter is still here for the protection. 1 kill, 2 kills, even more so. They're just not having any more. They're just not going to let Metal Esports go in for that post plan itself. But Batman is still here. He gets another one through the garage, and that's the opening that they need. Important kill of that too, which means Vivor is the last man standing no more. As God Vexy takes yet another one and also succeed in that post plan. God Vexy. Okay, no problems. Yeah, there you go. He was just giving it to get the orb nonetheless. But all in all, Metal Esports, a very good start from them, 3-2. And I kind of like the way how they've made a decision to bring in the Rays as well. The satchel charges, the paint bomb, which eventually let them had a lot of damage from their end. And on post plant, while all 5 players were prepped and ready for the lineups, that garage push from Batman was more than enough to give the round back at the hands of Metal Esports.
What I really like is how they are able to distract players from Badman. They're constantly making they're constantly making noise on that retake. They're constantly trying to deter any focus that could have been sent towards Badman. So the fact that they was able to catch him off was really, really nice there. And it also just enables each other. So Medal giving us a really, really strong showing thus far. You also mentioned how the Raze comes out on Haven here. For me, Raze can be really hit or miss. And thankfully for Medal is they're doing such a good job at forcing Orangutan's final positions into such tight chokeholds. It really emphasizes the damage that comes from that Raze. And even if it doesn't kill, it wounds, it maims, which just makes those gunfights even easier.
Yeah, I have to agree on that, Kramer. 3-2 when it comes to economic wise, I could say that Metal has been doing a great job in handling it out. I mean, Easy already got his op, which means that a long angle hold will be made towards the C side itself. What's more interesting is that we have all 4 players just holding out from C, whereas there's only one from the A side. So very interesting to see what Metal Esports is going to be doing at this certain moment. I believe they know exactly what Orangutan will be doing at that moment. Oh, such a great shot though from Easy. Breakout shooter like that in an execute will be much more painful for Orangutan because he's the duelist. He's supposed to be making the opening rounds of that execute, and with him being gone, it'll be very difficult for them to even thought of another way. Resurrect will be present. He'll be able to succeed in waking up Trixie, but it's not for long. He gets shut down, and also a ping to give them information on Sage's whereabouts.
Up against that Sage as well. Just trying to hover around Garage here. They don't have the support from Ezzy. Is it Ezzy or Easy? Do we know about that?
Yeah, it's easy, Kramer. Yeah, it's easy.
I do apologize. I'm unfortunately trying to horrifically anglicize every name I see here as Vibble gets ready to launch this attack through mid. Fox is actually in a pretty good position to try and outmaneuver this. However, they go the more defensive route, the more disciplined route, you could say, as it would be joining Easy to try and assist him here.
You are divided!
Yeah, you could see Metal Esports have already succeeded most of their post-plant situations, so this can be a chance, but that smoke dissipating at the right time will give Deseret the win that he requires. 2 kills already, and now we see Metal Esports slowly to fall apart with God of XC taken under control. So does Batman at the hands of Doctor. We will see Orangutan take back and succeed. 3-3 equalizer, and now we see Orangutan looking very strong, even with shooter being picked out quite early in the rounds, making them, making out an option of a quick rotate back in, deciding for a post plant on B side was really a good work coming in from their end.
You're right, and it's a really nice bit of teamwork there. I like how they're sort of enabling Tesseract and Shooter here to be able to get these entries as well. On topic of those entries, look how Orangutan have set up, ready for a huge bid for C control here. If they're able to kill this Astra, they're in such good position. However, if the Astra's able to get the information and back away, this is going to give a catch-22 to Orangutan. Do you dive through a smoke into an unknown amount of hostiles? It looks like they are. Fox is going to be ready for the first. It's only a trade, though. Luckily, he doubles down, ready to go for 3. However, in mid-air, it's going to be the Doctor to lay him low, coaching from the front. And I tell you what, it's going to be a full frontal assault for Medal here to try and get back onto this site. All 3 members stacked up from B Link, getting ready to just dive onto the Doctor here. Coach laying in wait though, Coach being a Cobra, and he's able to shut down Tricky. The showstopper doesn't work, however Vibble is there to follow it up. Rolling Thunder available. I doubt we'll see it used here as he goes to the jump spot. Still, this is being held by Vexy. This is still being held by Vexy, but it's Vibble. 1 bullet is all that's needed to send Vexy to the afterlife and Orangutan to the lead at 4-3.
Yeah, and what's the best part about it? Vibor gets to save his Rolling Thunder, which will be even much more influential in this round because now they get to choose which side do they have to execute. Just one single use of Rolling Thunder, you just concuss every single player who's present in that particular site. And talk about Metal Esports, you always get to see them, bundled up on one of their certain sites. Once, I mean, if I have to give an example, we saw them huddled up on C side. Sometimes we see them huddled up on A. Only a trap will be present in towards B. And look at that, with the huge aggression being made right from A long, they're just showing their presence to say that yes, we're making an execute on A. But look at the positions that's been happening from C. You have 3 players from Team Orangutan who's ready to make their execute, and maybe with the information being given from the Owl drone, will confirm the suspicions.
here.
And now they just have to see if they can take this bait.
Looks like they may have Vibble.
Right
Getting
there.
a lot of info here. This could be really, really worrisome. And with Shooter as well, still in the back line, assisted by the Doctor, there's going to be a flank already in position for this retake onto C. Medal, they've gambled here. They've rolled the dice, and they've come up face down because Orangutan are going to be able to get this plan and maybe even hunt some of these pistols to just garner some extra ult points. They've still got a Rolling Thunder readily available, but they could do with more.
Yeah, they could have done it a bit more, but since this is an eco round, they decide to stack it up a lot. And Tesseract is prepped and ready. That's 2 kills. He's about to find his 4th. There you go. It's Ember to take out the 4th kill to take out Tricky, which means that the last player will be at the hands of God Vexy. Not a lot he can do in that situation, but the only thing that he could do right now is to see whether if he can remove 1 player's off so that he can get the upgrade of the Vandal. And Doctor won't have any problems doing the last player too. God Vexy down at the hands of the Doctor. And it's 3-5, knowing that it is a flawless round. And with the... even on the previous round, I kind of feel like they went in for a semi-buy. You mean, you have the Sheriffs, you even had the high armor, which was present at the hand of Metal Esports. So, all in all, even if they did lose the previous round, they will get some certain weapons at their disposal. So, they should be fine. But it's not good in the full auto rounds because Doctor and Vibor, both of them has their ultimates up. The Hunter's Fury as well as the Rolling Thunder. So I'm very much more concerned about this round for them.
The one thing I'm concerned about for Medal as well is their composition has no real info gather. So being able to actually just shoulder peek in general is definitely your main way of being able to catch out some of these Orangutan members on the defense, which for me is going to be a real big problem, particularly if Orangutan are hitting their shots. On top of hitting their shots, Fox good for the opening. Tesseract missed flick by the chamber, but Tesseract is able to get a land grab off the back of it now, and with that, the rest of the team of Orangutan, they're going to get ready to descend onto this ace side. Tesseract in the back line spots out Fox, there's the opening, and now these defenders have to keep turning 180. They don't know where the attack's coming from, and that air of unknown is going to make defending it so much more easy for Orangutan here.
Yeah, Tesseract is not going to let them gain control on the B side. Beautiful headshots. 3 kills of that too, and now with the chamber taken care of, now they have the exact now they have just an exact idea on which to push first. But Godvexy is still here. This is huge. 2 kills to take out Vibor and Shooter, but it's too late. Ember arrives at the right time, even with the information being gained from the Fates' end. Badman
30 seconds left.
and Ember. It's the controller versus the controller. He's been marked for a certain amount of time, but who will get to win it will be Ember, nonetheless. 3-6, and Team Orangutan, they can really show how bad that they can be, especially from Tesseract's end. Those 3 kills from mid was just too much for them to handle.
Quite a dope round, to be honest. I really like how Orangutan just sent once Tesseract got that first kill, rather than getting him to pull back, they just send him into the backline. They just let him go wild, and it's a very free-form way of IGLing, and a lot of teams can't do it. They actually just can't do it because you have playstyles which revolve around needing utility for executions. The fact that Orangutan is sort of brave enough to say to your chamber, that's all right, disappear into the backline, you'll be fine. And then still execute off the back of it is really impressive. Bearing in mind, credit where credit is due to Medal for forcing it down to a 1v1 despite being in such an uncomfortable position certainly is something to admire. But for Medal, they are still 6-3s down. They still need to find a way to start seriously coming back here. Otherwise, we may be seeing another 9-3.
Yeah, it's more likely for that to happen, Kramer, that's for sure. And also a bit of a quick notification from a guys out here who are watching the stream right now. Go ahead and get your tickets right now for the TEC LAN event, the biggest LAN event which will happen in Bengaluru. It's on the pinned comments, the link is in the description below, so go ahead, get your tickets right now, and we will see you guys on August 12th, 13th, and 14th. Mark your calendars, we will be there, Kramer will be there too, hopefully.
Hopefully.
It will happen. It will happen, folks. Don't worry about that. But now let's just proceed and resume back to 3-6 core line. It's Team Orangutan who is on the upper hand when it comes to gaining advantage, on racking up their wins, getting economy, and everything. And Metal Esports, they're just trying to figure something out. And maybe this round I'd give them the opening that they need.
Bad man. Up close to the smoke here. I like this aggression. It tells Metal very quickly that Orangutan are being quite passive. Ember has spotted out the initial player though, but that's more of a early warning system. This gives Metal a lot more information than it gives Orangutan, and now they can commit to that rotation. You see how the Astro now just joins the fade in Crossfire, because they know that it's going to take Orangutan a while to get up seed long. In fact, the Astro's not even needed. Vexy just takes Shooter's head clean off his shoulders, and with what is a horrific decapitation, Orangutan are going to look to increase their anticipation with a hit over to A. Led by Tesseract, it's going to be Fox the man to worry about. However, it's Ezzy to draw first blood in the execution. Tesseract falls, the Sage slows, I mean that the Doctor can't really follow this up. Look how fragmented the players of Orangutan are. They're in positions that can be exploited, that can be punished. The Doctor needs to go huge. He needs to go thermonuclear. He's good for the first, he spots out the second, and with the knowledge of the Sage being somewhere on this site, he's got to back off, he's got to join the rest of the team. And as Orangutan set their gaze to B, let's see if this 3 versus 3, remember, there's a huge ult advantage over on Orangutan. Let's see if they can use them here.
Yeah, and look at the information that they've gained from the
10
side
seconds
itself.
left.
Immediately they're just heading
Spike
towards B,
planted.
because it's clearly a free real estate for them. Post-plant, both of them has their cosmic divides and their rolling thunder, even more so the resurrect at the hands of Metal Esports, and this might be at the hands of the defenders if they can just play it out right. Cosmic divide is present, and now Ember is all by himself. He needs to find all 3 players. He finds one. That's Tricky down, and there's 2 more left. Fox, he knows exactly what's happening, but the sound itself is a bit much more difficult for them to deal with.
Pulling them in.
The pull is in. Easy needs to be careful. He doesn't have any information regarding this issue. And all he needs to do is just wait for the Cosmic Delight to end it out, but it's not enough! Easy just had to just wait it out at that right moment. He didn't have to wait. But although a bit of a mistimed end from Ember though. He knew exactly at what time the Cosmic Divide would end. And when it does, he pushed it. He got both kills at the right time, but at that moment when you couldn't get to hear the spike being defused, right? It would have like a minimized time. So all in all, for Metal Esports, this was a very important round for them. Thrifty round of that too, 4-6, and now they might be thinking of getting another win on this round as well.
You're right, and I'm glad that Metal are finally getting rounds now. I think that if we had started seeing sort of 7, 8, 3, then there was going to be some real issues in Metal actually coming back at all. The fact that they're striking back now shows that they still have life in this half. And doesn't make a life in this half. The Doctor looking to remove it with an instant Hunter's Fury kill. However, it is traded onto the Breach, which is a real big problem if you're on Orangutan, because that's your Rolling Thunder taken down. That is one of your big S factors and executions removed. And so you're going to have to rely even more so on aim now. And unfortunately, aim is just that bit more unpredictable, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Tesseract is on point with his shots, even if it's a Vandal or the Tour de Force that he's using right now. But the main problem is in itself the information being gained from Metal Zend. God, Vexy, headshot, 2 kills. This is looking good from Metal Zend. There's 2 more players left, but Ember is still alive. He's doing his own God's work. And it's Doctor, who's just so on point with his shots. Information from Recon. Smoke's been downed, and that's the confirmation of the kill. Fox is downed, which means Easy has to clutch it out on a 1v2.
He can absolutely do this as well. He saves him, drop the Doctor. Papa, he's so good. I love this. This fills me with joy. They're losing to a coach, a manager, and there's no solution. Metal is still having to rely on individual peaks to be able to be able to shut down this team. And for Orangutan, the Doctor, he's filled. Bear in mind, from this coaching perspective, because he's had a similar playstyle to Tesseract, he's been on teams with Tesseract before. All Tesseract has to do is shift to his teammate's position, which he knows anyway, because they're a pro player and they've been practicing, and then the Doctor just goes back to what he was doing last month, and it's actually just conjoined very damn well. The silver lining is that it's going well on Haven, which is their best map. Will it go well on Fracture? Will it go well on Icebox? That's going to be the true test.
Yeah, Fracture and Icebox. There's still a chance that Metal Esports, can recover at a very disadvantage, at a very bad situation. Looking at map number 1 itself, there is still a chance that Metal Esports can come back. They did win that thrifty rounds, which means that there is still a chance. And what's even more is that Badman is playing at a very aggro spot, and Doctor, does he seize the corner? Yes, he does. He knows exactly where Batman is, and here comes Easy, protecting his team. 2 kills, both Shooter and Doctor are down, and that's exactly what they need. A distraction from Batman. A distraction is more than enough for Easy to get 3 kills, and it's tricky. Using the flank to its full potential all the way from Garage. The Spectre in hand, a headshot, and now Vibor. What can he do? He can't get to any. I mean, he won't be able to do anything at that moment. Easy. What a way, and what a bait from Batman.
I was trying to think of a clever pun to say, you know, easy, making it look easy, but honestly, he does that all for us. Just look how bloody good that man is. Instantly shutting down anyone who dare peek him. And with that, Orangutan now 7-5 in the lead. Yeah, for a while, that looks pretty good, but it feels like they actually just escaped that half, with Medal really snapping at their heels towards the end there. And now we hit the second half. A lot of pressure is going to be put on this pistol round. Of course, with only 2 rounds separating these teams already, pistol round isn't going to massively change the flow of the tide here, but it's definitely going to influence it. And for Orangutan, it could very well give them that extra couple of rounds as a safety net to be able to adapt as to how Metal are going to be playing the second half of Haven.
Talk about the scoreboard itself. God Vexy, 13 kills, and Easy, the man who did get like 3 kills from the Tour de Force, 11 kills. So we just have to take a look at Orangutan's end too. 13 kills from both Doctor and Tesseract. And the Hunter's Fury kills that he gets from Sova is just so good. So good. It's just so good.
Now we hit the second half. I'm interested as to if maybe Orangutan has something groovy planned for us, Berber. Because we saw Medal for kind of 1 or 2 rounds. They were planning on going quite aggressive. I think the main round that really showed was round 4, their sort of second round with guns, where they just peeked through mid, and they just fought anyone in window. I'm really looking forward to seeing if that is an option again for Orangutan, and maybe use it to catch Metal off guard, because the more orthodox they play, remember, these teams have played against each other before. They've definitely anti-stratted each other before, so the more unorthodox you play, the more unpredictable you're going to be, the easier it's going to be able to get these crucial first and second kills of each round.
For now, you get to see that Metal Esports are just putting huge acceleration towards the A side itself. Now with the information being gained, they will ensure that they'll be able to stack up from the A side. Tesseract, oh boy, it will be Easy's turn to land his headshot. It's on point, and with that early peek, Chamber being downed, and look at how Doctor is playing. He's playing so close encounters, and Easy, he doesn't get it. Man, the refrag was such a risky thing to do for Doctor, and he just gets it and falls it back.
Grenade!
I'm so happy that the Doctor's playing well. I really am. The Doctor, he just keeps going! Oh my god, eventually Fox is able to finish him. But yeah, someone kindly asked us about it. Both of us, who do we support? I support the Doctor. I support the fact that Coach is playing better than some of the players here. That for me is a victory. Yes, Vexy, he'll finish off Vibber. It's all up to Ember now, who has had a fairly quiet game on the Astra. This will be their shot of redemption. Bad expect to get the Astra Jewel, the Astra Tiff. Maybe we'll have to wait. It's going to be Vexy who's going to be in prime position to take this first duel, but it's all discipline from Medal. All of them are just waiting for timing. Fox will be the point of contact. Then everyone will swing in unison with God Vexy bringing that final kill. A killing blow, which will signal Medal's 6th round and Orangutan's fear as we enter the second half.
Yeah, winning this pistol round for Metal Esports is exactly what they need to survive their future rounds. And since Metal Esports, they didn't had that good round in the first half itself. You could see that in the second half, maybe we could see them come back, especially from God Vexy. The man has been on point on recovering those rounds, especially on the previous round where he saw, you know, Tesseract being downed out. Doctor was still being as annoying as he could from the A side, and now they're doing it the same thing. The only difference is that we see Doctor bring in the shorty, and because of that, his location will be known nonetheless. We're not wasting any time at all, which means Doctor Still playing nearly close to the side itself, doesn't have enough bullets. And it's just chaos all over. Metal Esports don't have any problems on round number 2 with the help of their bullets. They'll be able to succeed. Equalizes. It's 7-7, and that is what, in fact, a big round. It's a close round, as I like to call it.
Exactly, but close is good. Close is good if you're medal, because you now have all the space in the world to go for upgraded rifles. Yes, you lose your bonus, but let's be honest, in recent memory, bonuses have had a lot of their effect has been mitigated quite a bit, especially now everyone's got much better with frenzies, with sheriffs, with all the works in between. The one thing that we're actually going to highlight here is now we're in the second half. A lot of new viewers have joined us. The reason Aduka isn't playing is because he currently has an appendicitis, and so the doctor, the coach of OG, will be standing in. Now I know what you're thinking. For a coach, he's pretty bloody good. The reason is the doctor was also a pro player on Action PH, on Kingsman, on Todak, a team which he played with Tesseract on a while ago. So a very experienced coach and player, hence why this game is so close. When on paper, it really shouldn't be. However, when you have players like Batman who are going to charge in and kill everyone, what more is there to cast, frankly? Shooter, 1 versus 3. Well, let's see what he can do. And suddenly, this looks pretty doable. It's all onto that Astra, that 4K ready to be converted. Only 4 bullets in the chamber, and while it's messy, it's all that's required. Badman with a 4K to bring not just a victory to his team, but more importantly, the lead in this game. 8-7 now in favor of medal, as they look to show Orangutan that there's no more time for monkeying about.
Yeah, what a play from Badman. 4 kills. All he had to do was just be patient, let the Jet do his own thing. And in the end, he just ended up having his own fair share of weakness in the end. I mean, he didn't have the information regarding the last player. And knowing that it's a 1v1 situation that you've converted on a 1v3, you would obviously feel pressure. And now Metal Esports, they want to continue placing that pressure once again in this round. Tricky's already here with the satchel charges, quick repositioning, the smokes are present, everything is in on the seaside. And look at the positionings. Look at the power from Metal Esports, Tricky and Fox doing what they do best, and Shooter, he needs to bring this round back on track. He'll succeed taking out Ezzy, but is it more than enough to succeed? See whether if they can increase or equalize it 8-8, and I'm not quite sure that's gonna happen. God Vexy, beautiful shots with the Phantom, 2 kills just like that, and it's 9-7. And I believe Metal Esports, they're just slowly cracking up their lead.
They are, and I tell you what, we mentioned how at the end of the first half, Orangutan kind of escaped, because once Metal started adapting, once they've started working a lot more as a unit now, they're no longer spreading out into such wide defaults, they're really packing a punch. I mean, you got to talk about God Vexy, 20 kills and 9 deaths right now. Really strong round. It's a really strong game. Right now, he is playing so damn well, and it's sort of dope to see that you've already got your Nightfall, you've already got your Cosmic Divide. Orangutan are struggling not just economically, but in abilities as well.
Yeah, although Tricky though, he wasn't looking that good, especially when Doctor was there. Taking out the Rays would at least help them in holding out their ground from the A side. Now, Doctor is still present, so does the breach at the hands of Team Orangutan, and with a huge amount of problems being happening from the fault end. Thanks to Fade's support, they now have control. And now it's Ember who is left on a 1v2. We always get to see Ember be at a 1vx situation more than twice or thrice, and maybe this huge shot might give them a chance, but nope, it won't happen. Godvex is here, he will deny it, get the spike, ensure that all of the team would have at least 300 creds from their end, and be on a really great spot from Metal Esports. 10-7, this is unexpected.
It really is, and what I love is the fact that with the reason Ember's always last is because with that Astra, you have that sort of global presence, right? But the issue you find with that is it means that you can lurk a lot easier, but it comes at a price, which is you lose a player in what would be a standard execution, which is why we have seen a lot of teams sort of favor the Omen a little bit more, purely because it gives you a little bit more presence on the actual quick contact. An early push from Tricky tries to catch out the Doctor, is going to be punished by Shooter. falling down into the 5-on-4. Medal, they still have somewhat of an ult advantage. The Tour de Force is going to try and level the playing field here. And for Medal, the main thing to watch out for is while their money's good, it's not great. This can still be punished. And Shooter's looking to do just that. Second kill for him now. Oh, and it's lined up the third. He knows there's a fourth as well. He spots the shoulder of Fox, tries to swing out. Vexy's there to trade it, and Vexy's there to double it down. This could swing the other way. This game is on. This round is on a pendulum right now, Baba. And for Fox now, carrying gun a corner on long. He knows that Orangutan are umming and ahhing about these flanks, about trying to out-rotate Medal here. And instead, it means that each angle you push, each step you take further away from your teammates is a step further away from safety, further away from a trade. And for Vibor now, info gather in position now. Unfortunately, with the Breach being the only player here with only a fault line to work with, he's going to have to peek with his shoulder. Spots out Fox, missed shot, able to get away. Also able to slow here, which is going to line the player up for Tesseract, lying neatly in wait. But Vibble, he doesn't need no gun. He doesn't need no Frenchman. All he needs is his trusty sheriff. He's the law in this town. And for Tesseract, it's going to be seafood for dessert. As Orangutan, they make it 8.
Yeah, this thrifty round is essential for Team Orangutan to get themselves back in the game. Now, you could say there was a lot of utilities expended from Orangutan's end, but since it was a thrifty, we even saw the ultimate which is being used from Vibor's end, the Rolling Thunder, which eventually did let Shooter get those 2 kills from the Sheriff. It was close range, but engaging in a long-range gunfight with Vexy was a difficult one, so maybe it would have been best for him to fall back, but since it was an eco round, he had to make that play. As a duelist, making sure to make a play is what's more important for a Shooter to be doing in those situations, and getting those 2 kills, he will be very happy about it. But what's more dangerous for Metal Esports is God Vexy. Look at the kills here, Kremer. 25 kills. Imagine the guy giving not only just information, but racking up so many kills that would give the team more protection, but also giving them a chance for them to succeed.
Yeah, you're right. And I feel like Medal, right now, they're just working so well as a unit. I mean, even in that last round there, even before they peaked, 2 players left standing, you've got to hope one of them go for a hero play. Instead, what happens is they wait for each other to stack up, and they then move in a position where they can trade. They are slowed by the fault line, of course, and that doesn't mean they had split up and kill. But the fact is that even that little sidestep taken by Vexy to just buy time for his teammates shows how well this team molded together. And with the Tour de Force come out as well, look at Orangutan's ult management. They don't have anything to work with here, Baba. There's going to be Shooter caught out Fox to get the opening. You see he just gets overwhelmed. It's a complete swing from Medal. They're working so well as a team. Tesseract is able to trade, and this operator may be a spanner in the works, particularly if he's able to double down. But elsewhere, Ember, low HP, thanks to the utility. Vimble's able to get Vexy elsewhere now. This is where the other kills need to start chiming in, accompanied by a resurrection. Why not? Ember still not cleared, and with that, he's going to finish off Tricky, leaving Ezzy and his Sage in a 2 versus 3. With a low HP on the Astro, this is by all means winnable, but Baba, winnable doesn't necessarily mean that it can happen. Probable doesn't mean impossible, and for Orangutan, this is going to be a wary position.
Yeah, Resurrection's already been used from Fox's end. He did it just so that Ezzy can be available, and all he has to do is just land his shots from the Tour de Force. Flashes will be in from Vibor. All they have to do is just succeed on post plant. They have all the time that they need, but it's too late because Orangutan, they've got their angles covered. The walls are present, protections being made, and now Easy. All eyes on him because he needs to get those 3 shots. Fox is also present. There goes your Heaven Control. Man, oh man, Metal Esports, they're looking so strong, and here comes the end from Fox. The resurrection is where Metal Esports got their most value out of it. Great job from them. 11-8. All they need is to win 2 more rounds.
I'm really surprised, actually, that Ember was able to get so much mileage, despite kind of starting the round on 9 HP. Really strong performance from him. Unfortunately, it's that final 1v1 where Metal are able to pull ahead at 11-8, but there isn't really much time left for Orangutan here to adapt. You look how badly the second half has gone for them. They've only won 1 round.
Absolutely. Even more so, Astro was very low on HP, so a single leg shot was more than enough to get the kill. So You could say it was more of like a 2v2, but that crossfire angle with the trades was just absolutely perfect. But let's not forget about the A side. Trouble in paradise as Easy gets 1 second. Vibor trying his best share of efforts to hold his ground from the A side, but it's not enough. Nightfall is here to give good amount of information. Here comes Easy protecting the flank. And now it's Shooter. All the way from the hatch, he gets the 1 kill that he needs. Godvexy doing a lot of work from his end, but you still have Fox holding his ground. And with it, we will see Medal Esports put themselves on match point 12-8. What a beautiful execute from Medal Esports. I gotta give them that.
You're right, and it's look at that little swing there. Once they were all caught in the gravity well, that should have been it. That should have been kind of round over. You move to the next one, whatever. You get it behind you. But the fact that even the player at the rear, the one who's stuck in the vulnerability, is the one who's actually keeping that flank covered and allowing his other 2 teammates to get deeper into the site. Such magnanimous teamwork. And for Orangutan, it's not like they're playing badly either. It's not like we're seeing Orangutan play like bots. They're doing well. It's just Medal are doing better.
And looks like they want to continue doing this more often. Vibor chasing down the race, but he was doing his best share of efforts to be aggressive. It's still not enough. Easy is still here. So does Godvexy, who's been dealing a major damage towards Orangutan defensive hold. You still need to be careful of Tesseract, though he is lurking around. He will find one out of nowhere. That lurk will be even much more powerful for them. Distractions will be made, but it's just 2 players. Ember also has the Cosmic Divide. He could use it to block line of sight. All it needs is just perfect timing. And I believe when Tesseract push in towards mid, he might be able to find the opening, but it's not enough. Easy is still here. Headshot to take out Ember, and it's all down to Tesseract. All by himself, all by his lonesome. And he won't be able to get the final frag to a quad kill from Easy. And there you go, map number 1 at the hands of Team Medal Esports. I did not expect this. This was Orangutan's map pick, right? And we see Medal Esports conquer their fears, and they will win map number 1. They will be on map point, folks. And now on map number 2, that's where it all happens.
You're right, and honestly, I'm blown away from Medal. They really were tenacious throughout this map. I mean, for a while, it looked like Orangutan were just going to run away from it. I believe they had a kind of 6-3 lead at the start. But Medal, once they found their success, they just rode that high to victory. Really, really strong performance from them. And now as they move on to Fracture, they've got to be looking at that with hearts in their eyes.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do, Kramer. And also, folks, don't forget about the tickets, which will be free right now. Just check the pinned comments, check the link in the description below, and get your free tickets right now for the biggest LAN event of the TC, for the TC LAN event. As per sure, it'll be a doozy one. But map number 1 itself, it will be Godvexy, who will be at the top of the leaderboards, 26 kills. And also, we'll take a look at the highlights of the performance being made from both Medal Esports, as well as on the hands of Team Orangutan. Orangutan, they were looking very strong in the first half, and then suddenly we see Medal Esports coming back on attack itself.
You're right. The one player I have to admit is I've got 2 MVPs. I know you're not meant to have 2. I know you're not meant to have favorites either, but son it. Let's be honest. The Doctor played pretty bloody well for what I think a lot of people were expecting. Yeah, we knew he was an ex-pro player, but the key word there is ex-pro player. He still really showed up there. We wound back, I guess, the weeks and really delivered. The other player, of course, was Badman, who just on the Astra was absolutely incredible. He felt like a multi-tool for Medal there, where he was entering, he was lurking, he was sitting back and just dropping utility. But in every role, he played this almost perfection.
Yeah, if we do take a look from Medal Esports' end, they had a very shaky start in the first half, but winning thrifty rounds is what Medal Esports got their opening, right? Because that eco round that Medal Esports won in the first half clearly shows that Medal was not done yet, especially from Godvexy. 26 kills. Yeah. He was watching both the flanks, he was even giving info from the utilities that they have, and the execution was just absolutely perfect from the attackers' end too. So Medal Esports, a very job well done for them in the second half.
Right, and I think on the second half, Ezzy had a really, really good performance as well. Even, I feel like Ezzy was either a multi-kill or nothing. It sort of averaged out as doing quite well. But yeah, really, really strong performance from everyone. For me, though, it's got to be the Doctor as my MVP. I'm so happy he was able to do well. Of course, what I would have liked to have seen was I would have much rather have seen a little bit more tempo when it comes to orangutan. I would have liked to have seen a few more timeouts, maybe. But of course, when your coach is then in a player slot, it becomes much harder to kind of control the narrative. So I understand it may have been a very difficult position for orangutan.
Yeah, I guess it was. I mean, the only timer that we've had was from at least Esports' end, right? So that's the only timer that we've had, and it did give a crucial change towards the way how Metal operated on their both defensive hold as well as on their on their attackers' execution as well. But Doctor, I gotta give credit to him, Kramer. He's just insane with the shots on the Vandal. Even more so, Hunter's Fury is just on point. And as we take a look at the scoreboard itself, God Vexy, 26 kills, whereas on the side of Tesseracts from Orangutan's end, 19 kills from this guy.
Yeah, really strong game from Vexy as well. And what I quite like from Vexy is his trades were really good. It was, even when he wasn't entering, as a second player, he always was there to either make sure that Tricky doesn't go unkilled or unresponded to, or he's always there to just take space for his team. And I think the land grabs that Meta were able to do throughout that map was really, really strong. And it's a transferable skill as well. If it works on Haven, that's definitely going to work on Fracture. So a really big thing to keep an eye out for as we go into our second map.
Yeah, huge opportunity for Metal Esports because they just took out Orangutan's map pick. Haven will be theirs, which means all they have to do is just succeed on map number 2, Fracture, which is in fact at the hands of Metal Esports. And if done right, who knows, we might be able to see some miracles being made from their end. But for now, folks, in order for map number 2 to proceed, we have to go in for a short break, and we will see you after this. Don't go anywhere.
From the legends of memory and storage. Crucial brings you the ultimate performance in gaming. Legendary products. Precision engineered. For speed and stability. Crucial ballistics. the legends of memory and storage. Crucial brings you the ultimate performance in gaming. Legendary products. Precision engineered. For speed and stability. Crucial ballistics.
What's fun is I've just been told all about the fun foods you can try in Bangalore. Do you know what else you can try in Bangalore? You can bask in the lovely weather. Oh, and this small thing that's going on. What's it called? Oh yeah, the Esports Club Challenger Series, the biggest LAN event, not only the biggest LAN event, but also the biggest gaming festival in India for 2022. That is one bold title to have. And you know what? I know what you're thinking. Damn, how much are the tickets going to cost to be able to go to such a cool event? That's cost an arm and a leg. No, it's free. You literally just click on the link down below and you can go. You can meet me, you can meet Baba, you can meet all sorts of people. You can even meet our amazing producers of Sean and Formatic. I've heard as well they're handing out Riot Gun Buddies, so go make sure you ask them for it, because they'll just hand it out like it's candy. Of course, this is the Challenger, the Esports Challenger Series. AMD Ryzen and Windows 11 have helped present it. This is of course powered by Crucial and our broadcast partners of Loco. As you can see from the graphic there, there's all sorts of stuff happening. There's even cosplay tournaments and community tournaments. If you want to go get in a maid dress and join Hellranger, if we can talk him into it, then go for it. There's nothing stopping you, other than the fact Hellranger probably won't do it, but we can still try. Of course, I'm your caster Crabber 3, joined by the amazing Baba. We just saw a very, very strong map 1 between Medal and Orangutan. We're going on to Fracture. How are you feeling about it, bud?
Yeah, man. I really can't wait for TEC Arena, and even more so, Medal Esports. Man, winning map number 1, especially on Haven defense, has a different vibe to it. Map number 2, this is Medal Esports' map pick, so they'll be even much more confident knowing that they'll be able to win it out on map Fracture. There will be, we will see Orangutan be on defense first, so I am very excited to see what do we get to see from Orangutan's end, because we haven't seen them perform a lot on map Fracture, but Medal Esports have done it. So expect changes, expect a cipher pick. Who knows, maybe we could see a cipher pick being brought out from Medal Esports' end. Even more so, Neon could have been brought up, but not a lot. It just depends upon them though. But Fracture, man, I gotta say, OG losing it like OG losing it on their map pick clearly shows that Medal Esports have got things under control.
You're right, and actually, on that note, the Neon for me is the main agent I'm looking forward to seeing here. I think that right now Neon is a bit gimmicky. Where okay, Neon's fun, but is it really? Does it really have a place? On Fracture, Neon most definitely does. And so, while it becomes a little bit unversatile to be a Neon player, if you can play Neon, then you have a little notch to your belt, a little nick in your arsenal, which can really, really deliver.
Yeah. Ensuring that you have a proper delivery is exactly what you want, especially when it comes to a very full coordinated team. And Medal Esports, they've already proved that they're worth it to win it out on the first map. But on map number 2, things might be a bit dicey unless and until Team Orangutan might have something else in their pockets. I mean, we know for the fact that the coach is still playing with the team itself on map Fracture, so not being able to use that timeouts as and also Medal Esports being on the upper hand, it kind of feels like Orangutan might be able to lose map number 2 unless and until if we see some ridiculous plays being made from their end.
You're right, and what I quite like with Medal's way of playing Fracture is they play it without the Neon. The one thing I love about Fracture, and this is my favorite agent combo in all of Valorant, is the Breach Brimstone combo. Both teams run it, so it's really going to be a fun Fracture. What we see from Medal, though, is they go for the Chamber Raise, and they've been umming and ahhing about bringing either a Sage or a Fade. They've sort of been bouncing between the two, with the Sage taking predominance. Over on Orangutan, it's a Neon Omen. And so it does have a little bit more of an aggressive a taste to it, you could say.
You know, I actually have a question to ask, Kramer. What do you think about Cypher, what do you think about his, meta being on the certain maps? Is he still viable or is he still not?
Nah. I think Cypher and Killjoy both they don't move enough. They end up being very static. And in the current meta of Valorant, we see a lot of fakes. We see a lot of sort of feathered assaults to sites. And so what it means is that you end up losing your utility as the Cypher, as the Killjoy very quickly. On top of the fact that with KO now coming into predominance quite a lot, maps that you would see the Cypher, like Ascent, where you also see the Killjoy quite a lot as well, KO just sort of removes them.
Yeah, knowing that you have suppression or your N, even more so null command, which is so powerful when it comes to executing the sites, you cannot even make any counter plays. Even if they, use smokes and push from the side, you cannot do anything because you're restricted to use any abilities. That's how powerful KO is. But looking at map fracture here between Team Orangutan and Team Metal Esports, we don't see them bring in the KO, but instead we see them bring in Neon instead. Even more so, just like you mentioned, Kremer, we see the both combos between Brim and Breach.
You're right, and what I quite like with Brimstone Breach is the Neon works really well with it. I like as well Rattag bringing out the aforementioned Neon as a medal, so little bit of a unorthodox composition being shown from Medal, and I quite like it. It shows adaptation. More importantly, in the last time we saw these teams play against each other, it was 13-11, Orangutan won. But now that we have different compositions, now we have a different roster for Orangutan, is that success going to be mimicked? I hate to say it, Baba, but I don't think it is. I think this could be a 2-0.
Okay, 2-0, Metal Esports. Looks like you want Kremer's favor, huh?
Yeah,
2
ever
to
so
0.
slightly, but I am. As much as I want to see the Doctor drop 40 kills and just carry OG to victory,
Oh.
we got to be realistic, right? It's probably
Yeah.
only going to be 30 for Doctor. I'm joking, but I've got to lean in favor of Medal. I really
Mhm.
liked how they played Haven, and I think it's just going to transfer across the fracture.
I gotta agree, because Doctor, although he was making an impressive performance as the Sova, the initiator, he was making a lot of work on the first map itself. But on Fracture, seeing him play as the Sentinel clearly shows that he's mainly there to watch out for flanks, ensure that if there's any lurk opportunities that OG has, he might be able to use it to his full advantage. Maybe we could see him do that, but it always comes down to the way how OG operates. And since they didn't had any problems when they went up against Team Anadi Army 2-0, high likely a chance that this could end up in a decider if their coordination works out well from their end. And if you guys are still wondering what exactly happening in the match right now, we just had a bit of a tech pause, so it shouldn't be that much. We'll be able to resume round number 1 itself, so the action will continue, but for a slight amount of brief minutes.
You're right, and what I'm interested as to how the mirror composition is going to work here, because usually when that happens, you end up seeing the chambers be the ones that end up having that duel, and that sort of decides it. Now Neon's in the mix, it's a bit of a question mark there, but what it will do is put pressure onto your kind of, I say duelist sort of encapsulating chamber as well, your duelists.
Yeah, looks like Metal will start off with that first frag. It will be easy. Taking out the hands of Tesseract.
There.
Immediately, once you get to realize that the entire site is clear, it was just chamber nonetheless. And since this is a mirror matchup, all hell will go loose at the moment. But it will be Metal Esports who get things under control. Post-prawn it is, which means that there's only 2 players left in the hands of OG. It's Ember and the Doctor. He's still alive. He could be able to make some miraculous plays from the side of Team Orangutan. But in order for that to happen, I think it might happen.
They're going to need some kills. They're going to need it quickly. Fox right now coming from Dish, coming from Satellite, means that trying to hit this site is going to be very difficult indeed. But it's not going to stop the Doctor. This man's got a gleam in his eyes and a spring in his step, and he's got some heads to remove from shoulders. Hunting for an opening. There's the peak. The chamber will oblige him. Unfortunately, when it rains, it pours. 3 members speak him and send the Doctor to the afterlife, accompanied by Ember. 1-0 Medal. They take the pistol round and they show Orangutan that they have no intentions in slowing down the pace after what was a victory on Haven. Really, really solid start now. And what I'm interested in is to how aggressive Orangutan dare go.
Yeah, for now, you could say that Metal Esports are looking very comfortable on the first round itself, especially on map Fracture with Easy, who just got 3 kills from his end. They won't have any problems on round number 2 unless and until we get to see Orangutan succeeds with by denying this. I could say on round number 2 things will be a bit difficult for Orangutan's end. Clearly, I can understand this is a mirror matchup, and it always comes down to the information being gained from Orangutan, and apparently I believe they don't have it right. They know that the entire A side is free, which means that Metal Esports will gladly get that control nonetheless. But will we see Tesseract get the most advantage out of it? I'm not quite sure. They've got the control, which means that it will be a post-plant situation back again at the hands of Metal.
Right, and what I really enjoy seeing is how Medal aren't really forcing out fights. They're really being methodical about this, sage walling everything, very defensive. Once the spike is down, then they consider their change of pace. So look at the flank that's coming from the breach as well, all the way through Dish as well. We see a huge amount of aggression now as it looks like Orangutan wants to just cascade onto this site. However, at point blank, these Spectres rule supreme. And for Orangutan, yes, they're able to get a 1, but that's the silver lining. If that, unfortunately, when you look at the world through rose-tinted goggles, Baba, you don't notice any of the red flags. And for Orangutan, the red flags for me is the fact that they have lost this A main control way too easily, twice in a row now.
Yeah, this is a bit concerning from Orangutan's end. Although this is first and the second rounds, they will have a full buy round coming in from their end. So Phantoms and Vandals is a go at the hands of Orangutan, and bonus round at the hands of Team Metal Esports. They're looking so confident on map Fracture, and that confidence is key to being consistent in delivering a lot of perfect executes. And this time, they're making an option to changing out their sideouts. A lot of utilities being expended. Smokes is present, so does the aggressive Peaks and Doctor. My god. 15 HP left, and it's Ember who needs to succeed. Oh! Collateral shot! 2 kills from Ember, and just like that, Metal Esports somehow gets to manage things around.
They recover that, Baba. An incredible round from Ember, and it's almost thwarted now. Vibor still backside, has got control of this spike. The one danger Vibor now faces is the fact the Chamber's nowhere near him. If Essie shuts him down now, luckily he doesn't. It puts it all onto Tricky. One very brave Neon with very little HP in this 1 versus 2. He's making noise on the rope. Tesseract's going to assume there's going to be a player to worry about here, but the timing, who does it favor? For Tricky, he must anticipate Tesseract on this close angle. He does, but he's just not quite able to aim in the right place. Tesseract will finish the job, and he'll make sure that Ember's heroics gets immortalized in their first round.
Oh man, that collateral shot is going to remind me for days. Oh man, Ember finally, he finally gets to, you know, rise up from the ashes. You know, in the first map itself, he wasn't looking too good on map Haven. Being as the controller, he didn't get to make a lot of impactful rounds. Although he was supporting a lot of teams with their executes and the defensive hold, we only got to see him use 1 Cosmic Divide. And now, seeing him having the Orbital Strike in hand, you might need to worry about from the opposition's end.
You're right, and now with a enemy down. Really difficult little fight here. Badman, only 30 HP, actually survives that somehow. Vibble will eventually get the killing blow. This is assisted by a full swing there. The orbital strike, dare I say, it's a little bit of overkill, Baba, if we're being honest here. But for Fox, full HP, a spike on his back, and a bomb site to assault. The silver lining is that Orangutan aren't anywhere near him to stop this, so this is going to be a 3 versus 1 after plants. And while we are going to see the opposing breach get healed up, they're all still without armor though. And with that, Fox, he's going to lay in wait. He's going to try and force out some 1v1s, which I really like. Ember falls, but the HP doesn't favor Fox at all here. He needs to hope for timing on Vibor. Unfortunately, he does not get it. Vibor sends him to the grave, and with another 3k from a member of Orangutan, that'll be their second round, leveling the playing field and equalizing our scoreline. On the topic of a level playing field, though, Baba, people have asked in the chat, and I realize they're probably going to do it throughout the games. We'll say now, we'll say at the start of the next half. The reason Aduka is not playing is he currently has an appendicitis. The reason the Doctor is standing in is because he's the coach. The reason Sky is not in the coach slots is because you're only allowed to submit one player to be that coach. The reason Doctor is playing is because before he was a coach, and that was a transition he made only a couple of weeks ago, the Doctor was a pro player, playing on teams like Action PH, Kingsman, and Todak. Something to highlight with Action PH is you probably recognize that name. The reason you recognize it is because he is VCT APAC level, which is why he's able to hold his own against the likes of Medal, and why he was able to have such an incredible opening on our map of Haven.
And this time, though, on map of Fracture, he might be able to do the same thing again. But looks like things are not looking too good from Orangutan's end too. Doctor is still here. He knows what he does best. He has to take out Trixie, but the huge problem starts to arrive from the ultimate, which has been used from Breach's end. They've got all the control. They've got all the time that they need, and now it's danger zone at the hands of Orangutan. They've lost a lot of bodies. There's only 2 players left, and with the tour de force that Tesseract has, he needs to see whether if he can get to eliminate at least 1 or 2 players off the board. That would be his main goal. You still have Ember with the crossfire. All he needs to do is just find the opening. And there you go. That's the opening that Ember needs. That's one. He's doing a lot of great jobs. Smokes block lines of side. Oh no, God, Rexy. It's a shot, but he gets it anyways. Tesseract, 2 kills. What a recovery from Orangutan. My goodness.
My lord! Tesseract, right. You miss your first shot, that's usually a death sentence. He recovers it and gets 1. Fair enough. But no, he gets 2! My, I don't even think he was scoped for that second kill, Baba. He just wipes it. And then for Vibble, all it takes is 1 quick follow-up kill to end it then and there. What a round from the members of Orangutan. And what a way to come back onto Fracture, having lost your opening map of Haven.
Oh boy, Metal Esports, they're not going to be happy about this. They just lost a 2v3. The angles were perfectly placed. The smoke was used at the right time to block line of sight and give the chamber the kill that he required. And what I did not expect, that he ended up getting 2 kills with the 2 de force. I cannot imagine, and I wish I could have seen that in his POV perspective. But now we get to see it once again. Tricky's gone down, which means that Team Orangutan are slowly getting themselves back up on their feet.
Ezzy, hoping it. Desperately hoping for an opening here, but Tesseract with an operator. He showed us what he can do with the Tour de Force last round. What can he do with a bit of a bigger gun? As I know I say bigger, both of them still 1 shot, but I'm fairly certain the operator's a higher caliber. Not that it matters, we're just trying not to nerd out here. As Fox shuts down Tesseract. Oh, Vexy gets ready to follow it up. There's the rolling kind of point blank from Vibor as well. He's able to punish Vexy off the back of it thanks to that, but Ezzy's there on the flank. And now for the Neon on the Sage, they do have a bit of an exodus to make here, particularly the Sage. The Doctor's really got to make some noise now to distract everyone from the Neon, to try and give an opening to Shooter, who through the wall is doing a lot of damage to Fox, but he's still not been able to kill him. The Doctor, pistol in hand, finishes off Bad Man, and now Fox, low HP, swaps places with his chamber. Down to the 3 versus 2 now. Ezzy, what can he hope to do on the rotation? And with that, Fox flashes in. Defuse halfway stuck. Fox spots ahead. Can't quite punish it just yet, though. Tries to follow it up, though. Shooter's there to deal with it. Ezzy on the spray transfer is only good for 1. The Neon comes to the rescue, and a really smart resurrection from Orangutan there.
Yeah, Doctor. That resurrection, man. Damn. That immediately put Metal Esports on a really good mood. Oh boy. 2 back-to-back post-plant clutches at the hands of Team Orangutan. My goodness. That I definitely did not expect. And now a timeout will be requested, of course. I mean, they just have to remove this, right? This is uncontrollable. And now what's even more worse is that they're back in the eco rounds. Metal Esports, they need to figure something out.
Really difficult position now for the members of. Here's the thing for Metal, right? It's the same problem they had when they were fighting on when they were fighting on Haven, which is neither team's really doing anything wrong. It's just a little micro mistakes. You peek a little bit too far one way. You don't check a corner. Your heal is a little bit late. It's little nuances like that which are separating these teams. And outside of a tournament setting, if if there is a tournament without these teams, one team and not the other, I guarantee you they are going to scrim to hell and back with each other because of just how closely matched they are, not just in skill, but more importantly in play style, which is really making this Clash of Titans a little bit unpredictable. Orangutan with a 4-2 lead, sure, but remember, they started Haven this well. I want to see what Medal can do once they start adapting a little bit.
Yeah, interesting use of the wall though from Doctor's end. And Easy is just making sure to remove it as best as possible. Ember already though, he's doing his fair share of great job by taking out the controller immediately from the attacker's end. Now this is a very important pick. With the controller out, executing on the site will be much more difficult because they cannot block a lot of lines of sight. And because of that, they need to make do without it. The help of stuns and Tricky, with the frenzy, won't be able to get a kill or two, and just like that, we see Orangutan taking things under control, and with Easy doing his fair share of efforts to take out Shooter, but it's not enough. It will be Tesseract, his arch nemesis, who will get the confirmation of the kill nonetheless. 5-2, and OG, man, they're looking strong.
They really are, and what I love here is the change in sort of how these retakes have been going as well. I mean, they've just been wiping Medal in teamwork, and what's really nice is, in order to get that sort of change in pace, usually it takes a timeout. The fact they've done it without a timeout is so impressive. So impressive. And it shows the advantage of having a coach in the roster with you. Granted, he's not fracking like he was on that one, but does it really matter if you're able to work in your psyche like that? Huge push from Shooter, able to get a kill off the back of that? Nah, get out of here. That's revolting. He is no business killing people at that range. And then, hit by the Rolling Thunder, there's no follow-up. Medal, they overcommit themselves a little bit there. Yes, it gives them a bit of space, but that's not worth the Rolling Thunder. With a Resurrection secured, it's down to a 4v4. The Tour de Force is still an option, but I don't really want to see it get brought out this round.
Yeah, they would not, but man, Shooter just caught two players off guard like that. I just did not expect that to happen. Although they have the information regarding the Spike's whereabouts, they do know for the fact that they will rotate back towards A, and that's exactly where Tesseract is ready. He is waiting for the players to arrive right at his crosshairs. And there goes Easy. Still had the smokes to block lines of sight, but when he's playing at a very good chokehold position, it's very difficult to even predict that he was in that particular place in the first place. All in all,
30 seconds left.
they will push, they will commit to the B side, and that's exactly where the trap has been laid. Doctor, he gets one, but Batman is still here to recover it, and this is a very good recovery. 2v2, which means it is a post-plant, a 5v2 situation. Fox immediately realizes what just happened. He gets to take out one, but Vibor also does the same thing. It's a 1v1. Fox needs to go head in for the plant or go in for the frag. And look how Vibor, he's just patiently waiting. He just has to waste a lot of time. Play for time. There you go. It's at the time of no return, and Vibor will succeed. What a clutch from him. Although he doesn't get the kill, he will get the kill nonetheless. Team Orangutan playing by the time. They will succeed this round nonetheless.
I love it. I love it. Such a smart round from Vibor as well. And the fact that he's able to isolate that first player, the low HP one, then can follow it up and get that final kill. Didn't even need to get that final kill. He could have sodded off. He could have just backed into a corner and held that gun. Oh no, this Vibor, once he smells blood, there's no stopping him. And the feeding frenzy of Orangutan is really doing a number onto Medal right now. 6-2 the scoreline. Medal needs something to go with their way. They need something to go their way fast.
And now they're just not stopping their acceleration from the attacker's end. Here we go, Easy. Taking out his arch nemesis, but it's still not enough. It's too much pressure. Already in towards the arcade side. What just happened, Vibor? He just found out an opening, but in the end, it's a 1v1. It's the coach, the doctor versus Badman. The controller versus the sentinel. He'll get the weapon upgrade that he needs, but I don't think it's a good one. It's a Spectre. There's a lot of weapon which was dropped down from that particular spot. But there is still a chance. There is still a chance that he can succeed, but he doesn't have the information regarding Doctor's whereabouts. He could have all the time he needs to just play the game. Like the mind game, that is.
You're right. And for the Doctor, I mean, He always keeps us cool in these positions, right? He's been in this position 100 times before. There's the smoke, there's the plant inside it, there's the doctor. Doesn't buy the fake. Oh, he doesn't need to on the cross. Bad man taken down. Look at the composure on the doctor's face. I bet you he's a poker player in his free time. That is just unflinching. And Orangutan, they go 7-2 up. They're making my prediction look like a pipe dream at this point. A hell of a round from him. And more importantly, it's also going to really harm the economy of metal because they commit quite a bit to that in both utility and in weaponry.
The read from Doctor was absolutely insane. He just placed a smoke. I mean, the Brim was the one who placed the smoke. He immediately knew that the best angle that he could hold on to had to be from tower's end, right? So he just went in towards that, and he expected that to be, Doctor expected that for the Brimstone to be in that particular spot. So man, the patience that this guy has is just absolutely amazing. I love this guy. And even more so from Metal Esports' end, this is even more concerning. 7-2, this is huge, especially in the first half.
You're right. For the Doctor. Crouched under this shit. Oh, he knows the attack's coming. He's going to hear this any second now. There's a Rolling Thunder planned as well. This is so perfect from her. This literally couldn't be a better setup from Orangutan. Look at that. Just mitigates the only ult metal have available. Thanks to a Rolling Thunder. That's just planned beautifully. This is mastercrafting coming out from Orangutan here. And for Medal, as we said on Haven, they don't play badly. Look at that, the fault line as well. It's timed so well, and Ember whiffs. That could have been his chance to tear through them. But now Tesseract has to go keep Jessica for the first one to Tricky. But he does have the assistance of Vimmer, who does 180, finishes off Ezzy. Now they know where the remainder are, and it's a 1-2 repartee from Orangutan. The final nail in the coffin comes from Tesseract, and you look at the glee that lights up the Orangutan faces, and for good reason. What a round. Such stellar plays from every single player on that team. It is one for not just the textbooks, but if anyone wants to learn Fracture, that's how you do it.
Man, that was amazing. The counters on the B side, you even saw Metal Esports running back towards A execute, and it was just perfect. Yeah, you could say it was more of like a symphony of destruction, and Metal Esports, oh man, they just got caught off at the wrong place at the wrong time. Doctor back here again with the shots, but it is OG, it is Shooter from his end though to get his kills from his place. Sheriff's in hand, but Tesseract is playing way too near the spawn side from the attacker's end. Won't be able to get the kill though, but the amount of pressure that Orangutan has been giving up right now might get to be its downfall. It's a 2v3, interestingly enough.
You're right. However, we've seen both teams make their way out of worse situations. And Orangutan, they've read it. They've read this 3-man commitments to this A site. See what they can do here now. Ember, first man to be challenged. He whiffed quite a nice setup last round. Is this his chance for redemption? One player less, and I mean, hey, the Sage is there for the first, gets the seconds. Tesseract now a chance to mischievously rub his hands together, knowing full well Bad Man on half HP could be in some serious danger. He actually fakes the rotation through the teleporter now. Operator at point blank. He knows the peak is coming. He gets ready for it. Misses the initial shot through the wall, takes a lot of damage, switches the headhunter. 2 HP to his name, and that's just not enough. The final shot eludes Tesseract there as Bad Man finishes the job and brings Medal their third round.
And such a close round. Such a close round for Orangutan. Even more so that this is an important round for Metal Esports. They have won their thrifty. They only had Sheriffs in hand. Even more so, the amount of pure aggressiveness that they displayed in towards A Hall clearly showed that they had too much confidence, and because of that, Metal Esports, they just had to play it safe. They only had pistols in hand, which means that in close-range gunfights, all you have to do is just click heads. And that's exactly what we did get to see from God Vexy, and even more so from Badman and Easy's end. A really great job at holding on that ground, and oh boy, what is this? What is happening? An early use of the ultimate being used from Breach. Now that is interesting. And even more so, they just lock themselves up on the A side. That's even more curious. Even more so, you even have the you even have shooter right from watching below the flank itself. So all it needs is just perfect timing on the post-plant situation. And that timing might be able to give OG the win that they need, but Easy also knows this. There you go, flank's been taken care of. And now all they have to do is just focus on the side.
Tricky. Hit by the fault line. There's a follow-up though. Instead it's Badman to chime in. Remember, Badman, he was the kingmaker of Haven, and now it's really going to be a real difficult position for Orangutan. A clean round from Medal. They end it on a high, but it took them a while to get there. Let's be honest, Baba. They really struggled in this first half, and it feels like this sort of final round, was it a shot in the dark, or was this the start of something?
It can be a start of a comeback, that's for sure, Kramer, because map number 1, they were in a similar situation, right? Especially on map Haven. First half, they were not doing too good. And next thing you know, in the second half, they start to bring back up. The amount of confidence that they had in winning the second half clearly shows that Metal Esports are not done, right? So clearly you could say that in map number 2, being on Fracture, there is highly likely a chance that Metal Esports can come back, and since they have a lot of time to discuss about it, I'm clearly sure that they might have something on their fingertips.
You're right, and so here in this second half, I think that for Orangutan, they had, all things considered, quite a passive first half. On your attack, I don't know how that's going to translate. Whereas for Medal, they weren't shy to force out fights, at least for the start of this first half. I want to make sure that they haven't actually lost that confidence, and they're still willing to take those risks as they hit the second half. If they do, even if it's on the pistol round, the early info you get on Fracture, because the rotation times are so long, early info's everything, and so pushing becomes everything. Hence why Neon is such a good agent selection with a mirror matchup. Both teams know the effectiveness of the pressure that's then going to be put on both Tricky and on Shooter.
When it comes to information gain, you could say that a Team Orangutan has got it covered, right? In the first half, the read how they make, the way how they've expect the execution to happen on one particular side clearly shows that they have information in the first place, especially on the early rounds. And they have the necessary counters for their utilities, even if we do see the attackers making their own stuff. So all in all, it always comes down to the second half itself to see whether if Team Metal Esports can succeed in their in their pistol rounds. And once they do, they need to be consistent on winning these rounds, or else we might see Team Orangutan getting back themselves on track. And also, let's not forget, folks, the top 4 teams will be selected for the TEC LAN event. So if you guys want to head on in, if you want to check in on the action, or just make sure you check the link in the description below. Make sure to check on the pinned comments and make sure to register for a total of 3 days of the best LAN event, which will happen in Bangalore, folks. So don't wait, just head on into the description, get your tickets right now for the TEC LAN event, and hopefully you might be able to see a lot of action coming in from that place.
You might be able to meet some of the heroes of this game. Ember looking to be one of them now. Pistol round in a corner, swings out, instantly shut down. And this is the medal we're expecting. Look at this aggression on B here. That's what I wanted. I prayed as hard as I could, and it's been answered clearly by Geod Badman, who's able to get second kill of the round thus far. 3 versus 2, though. Vexy is going to be spotted out by Shooter. A little bit of an uncomfortable position to take, but more importantly, he wins that gunfight, which means the spike falls right into the laps of Medal, putting all the more pressure onto Tesseract. I mean, hey, Tesseract certainly isn't going to be uncomfortable in a position like this. We've seen how bloody good this man can be. However, he needs to find a way to isolate these 1v1s. So right now, Medal are doing an admirable job at sticking together.
Good use of the teleport ability from Tesseract, but it's more than enough to get the confirmation of the kill. No, it does not. Easy will make sure that none of those plays from Tesseract will be available for him. And now, winning this pistol round will be huge for Metal Esports, especially with that aggressive push that they've made from B main. Clearly shows that they want to be aggressive once again on the next round, or maybe they want to go a bit of a passive hold on the side itself. Who knows? I mean, at this point, it's even difficult to predict at which time do we get to see Metal Esports flip their switch from being aggressive to being defensive. You'll never know what they'll do in this round.
You're right, and now that we've hit the second half, it's time for our halfly update about why the Doctor's playing. I know what you're thinking, Baba. Oh my God, who is the Doctor? Well, the Doctor is both a very popular English TV show back in the day. However, he's also the coach of Orangutan, and he's taken his time off from time traveling to join this team as a coach. Before then, he was a pro player. That's why he's doing good. Aduka currently is in hospital for an appendicitis. From what I've heard, he's okay, but he still has to have surgery, hence why he's in hospital. And so the Doctor's going to be standing in for this series. Of course, having played on teams like Action VH, teams that have played in VCT APAC, he's certainly got a plethora and wealth of experience to rely upon, which unfortunately wasn't able to help him this round. However, there may be hope as they hit the bye, moving into what would be bonus for medal.
Yeah, bonus round, 8-6, and I get well soon, Sky, get well soon. It might have been a huge blow to the back from Orangutan's end, and I
Duka, who used to get well, not Sky.
I'm sorry.
The only thing Sky suffers from is a bruised ego because he has to sit in the YouTube chat because he can't sit in the coach slot because the rules have changed like that.
My bad. But all in all, I wish him a very well recovery, and hopefully we might be able to see him get back from Team Orangutan and do what he does best, right, Kremer?
Exactly, and he should be all well and good shortly, so we don't need to worry too much about him. But our thoughts, prayers, and love are with him regardless. But now though, medal looks like their thoughts, prayers, and love has been felt by those in the community wanting medal for 2-0 this, because they are now really looking to pack a punch as they found their momentum. Now for Orangutan, who yes, had a good first half, seem to be really hugging their spawn. That shows how wary they are of Medal's aggression. It shows that these pushes, they've worked.
Yeah, it really did. And this clearly shows that, you know, Team Orangutan, they're a bit afraid of what Metal Esports might do. And now since they just played it really safe in the early rounds, they don't have any information regarding the players now, do they? They don't know anything at this point. They're just being silent. They're seeing where if they can get an opening pick or not. And maybe with a huge noises being made from the B side, clearly it will give them the confirmation regarding this issue. Easy's the only one who's joining the side, which means that he needs to find an opening, in which he does not. He still has a lot of protection from OG's end. So all they have to do is just succeed and ensure none of those opportunities, especially from the bonus round, would be given at the hands of Metal Esports. But all in all, it always comes back to Testrax's place. So with that flank, let's see how he will perform.
Right, and now with another difficult position here, another retake attempted by Medal. This time though it's the Doctor. Hey, the Doctor's in, and he's got a hell of a medicine for you to try. Unfortunately, no sugar's going to help it go down. Unfortunately, lead is funny like that. As it's left into the 2 versus 3. Ember able to chime in, swings out, caught out by Tricky, left in the 1 versus 3, and it's Vibble on the trade. These retakes, Baba, even when, you know, Orangutan lose them, even when they win them, when Medal loses, when they win them, doesn't matter. The retakes from both of these teams have been absolutely incredible to watch, and it really shows mastery of your map to be able to do that.
Yes, indeed. Man, Medal. I don't know what to say. It was just this close for, you know, Doctor to just remove every single player of the equation. But although Metal Esports, they stood their ground, they ensured that none of those opportunities would be at the hands of Team Orangutan, and now they want to continue the aggression like they did in the previous round. And maybe this time Metal Esports might be able to get the upper hand. I guess so. Yeah, pretty much sure. Batman. 2 kills already, taking out both Vibor and Shooter, and Tesseract also does the same thing. All the way from the distractions being made from B main. He has to take out one, a huge resurrect will come in from his end. And now Tricky, he's at a very tough spot. 3 players back, use the ability to spring back to reposition, but it's too late. You have all the angles being covered around, and it's got Vexy who needs to clutch. Resurrection, not quite sure if it's a good idea, but he still does it anyways. He'll survive, and Ember, oh boy, so close. So close, and yet so far, God Vexy will end up with a clutch Unnecessary one of that too. 9-7. Great job from Metal Esports.
Once again, it really for a moment looks like it could swing either way, just on a pendulum. But no, Metal are mounting a bit of a comeback. I'm really quite liking this, Berber, and it's just a repeat Haven. And now as we enter the latter stages of this map, I wouldn't be surprised if we see overtime.
Overtime can be a possibility, Kremer, and I seriously think that it can happen. The amount of gunfights that we've seen between the mirror matches and Tesseract, finding the arm of Easy. He might be a bit much more aggressive, but he doesn't want to change his positioning nonetheless. He misses the shot, which means that he'll be forced to use his teleport ability to fall back. Although the best thing about it is that Metal Esports now have information regarding this push. Although just one of them. They only know exactly where Tesseract is. They don't know where the spike is. They don't know where the other rest of the players are. So it's still a huge question mark when it comes to information being gained from Metal Esports. But once it does, you still have Badman's orbital strike. So it always comes down to that perfect timing. And maybe this can happen at this brief second.
Lexi has to back you off here. So careful. There's the fault line. It hits right onto Ezzy as well. Shooter goes through with the overdrive. However, he's actually instantly caught. Lexi! Where did that come from? Now Ezzy, headhunter in hand, swings out. Lovely kill onto the doctor. And it's Metal. They are navigating their way around this orangutan utility beautifully. Vibble is able to catch out Tricky, and more importantly, able to retrieve a gun. Now, that tour de force shut down Vexy in tower right now. It's just incredible. Badman gets the killing blow. Medal. What a defense there, Baba.
Yeah, what an offensive push, though. Boy, oh boy, Metal Esports.
30 seconds.
What a play. Everything was intact. Every single kill was so influential. And God, Vexy, man, he was concussed. He wasn't supposed to win that gunfight, and somehow he gets to hold his ground on B tower.
I don't understand it either. Like, that was so smart.
You never really know what OG has in store. Even if they are being aggressive, not defensive, somehow Metal is getting the upper hand. Oh boy. For a moment there, I thought Metal, it was... I thought it was the Sentinel who just got caught out, but it's not. It will be Tesseract who just got eliminated out. 9-8, and back again we see Metal Esports taking things under control when it comes to gaining early advantage. But now, OG, they need to recover it back, especially with the orbital strike that Ember has. That timing is very crucial for them to succeed.
Has to be careful here. Flashed off the angle. Shooter chimes in. Hell of a shot there as Tricky falls. And with a follow-up, Shooter able to double down as well. He comes out of this corner swinging with Vexy. He does finish the job, but has the damage already been done now? Doctor point blank. Labored kill there, but Badman is able to finish it off. Now remember, the orbital strike is still available. There it goes through the smoke. Bibble able to trade on two. Badman now leaving it all onto one very low chamber with very little time. And actually, it's just got to be a save for Orangutan. That'll be a 10th round. But Baba, that came at the cost of quite a lot of utility and of 4 players as well. Remember, Orangutan, while they're winning rounds, their economy still isn't healthy yet.
I have to agree on that, Kramer. Their utilities, they had to go all in. They had to do it. Orbital strike, the main reason why they had to use it is because they had to stall time. It was a 2v2 post-plant situation, and even if they do get the control on the side, if you still hear the spikes being planted, they had to invest on it. And OG, mainly because of that, they might end up being in a very disadvantageous situation in this round, but not quite sure. A huge trade back and forth from Easy and Ember. Although, getting to take out Doctor, there goes your resurrection, which means that it'll be even much more tougher for OG to handle it out. And Metal Esports, they can just be confident on the side. Shooter, he needs to get the kill, but no, God, Vexy's better. 2 kills, he might be able to find the other one. No, he does not. Trixie is here. He will be at the 3rd at the hands of Badman. And even with huge utilities being dumped on in the previous round, you could still see Metal Esports, they still have this round under control.
Yeah.
And this is...
More importantly, Baba, is they've reset OG.
Yep. Yeah, they did.
I'm interested as to, and this is something we just said last round, which was Metal. They got ruined in the round beforehand, but that was because there was a huge commitment of ults from Orangutan. How frequently are they going to be able to wield these ults? Remember, we only kind of have 6 or 7 rounds left of this in regulation, assuming they go blow for blow. You're only going to get one more cycle of ults out here. For Ezzy as well, against the eco now of Orangutan, he's just going to be able to farm some ult points up. We're going to get another Tour de Force to have to deal with. We saw how difficult the last one was to react to. Tesseract single-handedly makes it look like a killing machine. Tesseract on that note is good for 1, but it's going to be the ace lined up from Ezzy. Will he be that executioner? No, he won't. The Doctor showing that he may be a coach, he may be a manager, but he can still play. Now 1 versus 3, finished off by Vexy. More importantly though, Baba, there's our equalizer.
Yep, equalizer 10 to 10. And look how many ultimates Medal Esports has. They have Tour de Force, they have the Resurrection, they even have the Rolling Thunder. One more ult off from Batman will get his Orbital Strike. You have all the counters you need to take out the attacker's aggressive push at any time that they want. This is looking very strong from Medal Esports' end when it comes to economy growth, when it comes to winning their major gunfights, forcing OG on a lot of eco rounds in which they couldn't get to succeed at Thrifty. And now, back again, it's Trixie taking out Shooter. This might be a bit doozy. Oh boy, a lot of aggressiveness. Alright, you gotta take a step back. You have to take a step back there, Tricky. But all in all, this is looking very dicey for OG.
And Ezzy has been able to restrict so much map control from Orangutan here. He doesn't have to fight. His presence alone, look how hesitant Tesseract used to be. Now he's dead, Orangutan just can't push this. They've got to wait for everyone else. In fact, they don't even want to risk it. They go up against Fox, who's timed his flash beautifully. And with that Vibble falls that teamwork, Baba. It's so good.
It's just looking so powerful, Kremer. How can OG dismantle this? How can they? They just left with 2 players. The Medal already has information regarding these 2, but maybe Dogger can do something about this. But that fault line
Down A.
used at the right time will end up being as a trade at the hands of Ember.
Got the spike.
1v2. There is still a chance for him to
30
succeed in
seconds
this
left.
clutch if he gets to take out Easy. The Tour de Force is such a devastating weapon in long range, and once he gets the shot, it is a no-go at the hands of OG. But for Ember, it's safe to say that Chamber is currently being held up from the B side, which means he needs to deal with a Badman. Orbital Strike, Ember doesn't have any information. Badman knows this. Oh boy, 30 HP. And now Badman knows this. Push, kills, and a team ace at the hands of Medal Esports. 10 to 11. What a dominant performance on defense. Even more so, Team OG, they just lost control.
I won't lie, Baba, it feels like Orangutan are getting a little bit sloppy. We are seeing kind of 1-by-1 peaks. We're seeing players get caught out of position. We're seeing them get timed out, particularly in that clutch there. It feels like for Orangutan, they've really suffered without a Duca, but because they haven't completely collapsed without a Duca, it just looks like they're playing quite badly. The fact they're even able to do this with the Doctor, for me, is impressive. And yeah, that's not to discredit the Doctor. He is literally a coach. And so they're making best of a bad situation. Don't let that diminish from Medal, who right now are giving us some surprisingly good Valorant. This is my first time casting Medal, and I'll tell you what, I might have to go buy a jersey after this battle.
Yeah, yes you do. The crossfire angles, man, it's just so crispy and it's so powerful for Medal Zen. It's just Tricky and Fox just doing every single work that he does best. It's just Tesseract in the end, and there he goes. I mean, I can understand this is an eco round, but look at how many rounds that OG had to be in. Not once, not twice, but more than 4 to 5 times have we seen Team Orangutan be at an eco round, especially being the ones on attack. Although they could have a full buy round in this, they could win a round or 2. They have a lot of ultimates ready from their end, so I believe they are going all in on maybe on one of their particular sites. But man, if they counter this, if Medal counter this, it's all gone.
You want to play? Let's
With
play.
every ult available, if Orangutan lose this, I will be very surprised. Bear in mind, Medal have a resurrection and that's it. There's no counter utility here. With no KO, there's no suppression. They are just going to have to take these ults on the chin and just hope they don't get knocked out. Bear in mind as well for Orangutan, risking committing all 5 ults this round, yes, it will probably make you win it, but on the flip side, it means that you then have to go to the final round of regulation without any ults. And with every single player now crossing, Tricky is in danger of being caught out by the flank here. Does he anticipate it, though? Goes into the corner. No, he doesn't. This is perfect. V-Ball, he spots out the first player. Doesn't react. Instead, swings in for the second. There's that initial kill. He hopes his teammate can follow it up, though. The orbital strike is going to lock Madman in such a difficult position, though. Fox now has to come out of the gate swinging, though. He's going to be hit by every bit of utility possible here. Able to avoid the aftershocks. And he's even able to take down V-Ball. Suddenly, Tesseract elsewhere is able to trade as he's able to follow it up, though. 1 versus 3 nonetheless, thanks to the resurrection. On the other side of the smoke as well. He must realize pretty shortly that the entirety of this team are just going to rotate away from him. Once he sees that stim pack, that should affirm to Ezzy that this is no longer a hit to be. It's a 180, a turnabout. So, well, turnabout may be fair play. Is it fair game? As instead, Ezzy backs off. And he seems to and ah about saving this operator.
Yeah, but for now, Easy is currently in a very difficult situation. You could say it's more of an impossible task. 1v3, even with an AWP in hand, he could get one. But it's best for him to use the Vandal or a Phantom to see whether if he can get the conversion on getting all of those 3 kills. Even more so, he needs to isolate 1v1 gunfights, which is very difficult for Easy. And I believe he'll make a decision to save his utilities for now. But if you take a look at this round itself, Resurrections is used. They've even got to use the Orbital Strike, but you still have the Rolling Thunder from Vibor. You even have the Shooter's Ultimate. Even more so, Tour de Force is available. So although only 2 ultimates has been used from OG's end, you could say that there is slightly a high likely a chance where they could equalize it 12-2, knowing that this ultimate that Vibor has might be able to give them the most impactful round that they need.
Yeah, what I'm interested in is how well Tricky's going to be able to use this overdrive. I think that he's been, let's be honest, a little bit aggressive over the course of this second half. I want to see what he does now he has an overdrive, right? Surely he is just going to... You know the phrase, if you hit your head against a brick wall, it's as if you're not doing anything. Well, you hit your head against that brick wall enough, eventually it will break. And I think Tricky may be of that mentality, realizing that an overdrive is definitely going to make their life much easier with the aggression. But for Orangutan, it's a slow start. With such an aggressive stage wall as well, retaking this A-long control is going to be slightly difficult and is going to burn your time quite a bit here. Tricky is in a corner, though, which could definitely be exploited. Once this stage wall goes down, Tricky is going to get overwhelmed. He has to be so careful here. He hears the push. He spots out the first. There's one instantly traded. Now a neon diff, you could say, or maybe an attack diff as the swing comes out. Shooter's there to double down. And now Shooter, will he be the kingmaker? Will he be the saving grace of OG here? With Medal going for the high ground, trying to find just even a poke of a strand of hair above these smokes. No one's going to bite, though. No one's going to risk it. Shooter shoulder peeking, but even that, he's doing so tentatively. With Fox looking to have to be this entry. There's that smoke, and that's going to buy a lot of space for Medal here. Shooter speaks out. There's another kill. His third of the round now. Out comes the overdrive. Can he make it? 4 tries to do so. Batman follows it up, though. Tesseract chimes in from the flank, though. Down to the 2 versus 1. Fox going to tap that spike once. He's going to have to tank a first shot from that aftershock, but instead, he's finished off by it. Baba, we're going to overtime.
Yes, it is, Kramer. We are going to overtime. 12-12. Orangutan, what a way to come back. Good usage of those utilities. The Rolling Thunder. Imagine, Kramer, if we saw Tricky taking out Vibor. Imagine, like, would it be the same situation? Would we get to see OG win their post-plan situation? Like, have you ever thought about it?
It feels like it's 50-50 regardless, man. Both of these teams are so good on retakes. Like, how do you predict it?
Yeah, but all in all, you're right about that, Kramer. But man, That was just beautifully done from OG's
Yeah,
end.
for sure.
And now they've got a chance on overtime, so they could put this match back on track, ensure that they would head into towards deciders, and they are very much motivated to do so.
Yeah. Highlight a stat I want to bring out. Ember currently has 19 assists. This man is so good at the supporting role, but Badman's been even better in the killing role. And I tell you what, the only rolling that's going to be done here is the bodies of Orangutan onto the floor with Tesseract. Sure, the operator chimes in. He's good for Vexy. Fortunately, he's on the other side of the map. Where have his teammates gone? They've just disappeared into the ether. Tesseract. A 1 versus 4. Operator in hand with no armor. If he wins this Baba, I don't know what I'll do. I'll be in disbelief. Fox is going to send him straight into the next round, and at 13 to 12, medal look pretty strong as they open overtime with a very convincing A hit.
Yeah, yes, we have. And I believe a timeout will be requested from OG's end. They need it. They definitely need it.
Yeah.
But I gotta ask, Kremer, how many times have we seen Bad Love getting concussed and somehow ends up getting a frag or two?
On Haven as well. He was doing it all the time on Haven. It's it's like it just doesn't apply to him. It really doesn't. But yeah, Bad Love, what a time to show up. And what I want to highlight as well is this is the first timeout Orangutan have used all series. And I think they could have done with one at 10-10. They could have done with multiple on Haven. The fact that they've still just gone with the momentum shows what that lack of coach can really do, especially when you're used to having a coach who's going to call timeouts for you. Now that that's no longer the case, the doctor, the coach in player position, eventually kind of forces the hand of Orangutan, but is it too late?
It's not too late. I could guarantee that. Although it is overtime, if you make a single mistake, if Orangutan makes a single mistake, imagine the amount of problems that they had to go with, right?
Yeah.
Especially on this attack, man. Metal Esports, what will they do in this overtime match point? 12 to 13. All they gotta do is just hold their ground.
Okay. Both players leg each other. They don't kill each other. Badman on the other side of the smoke is going to see that overdrive. Tunnel vision for a second there. I realise it's going to be a really nice thing to circumvent the Doctor. Not wary of the fact there's a gap in his wall. And the Badman, he's going to follow it up. Badman's even able to double down. He doesn't get away from the utility, but it doesn't matter. He's able to get those 2 kills. Shooter restores order. 3 on 3. Fox, I think he's anticipating a really wide swing here. But Shooter! What a nasty angle. Absolutely ruins him. Tesseract's able to chime in as well. It leaves it all on the Fox in a 1 versus 3. Good for the first. He knows where the second is. If he wins this duel, this could be a huge difference maker. Caught by the concussion though, Vibor will finish the job. And just like that, Orangutan keep it level, 13 to 13.
Switching
Let's see what they
sides.
can do.
Overtime.
Yeah, the show's not over yet, folks. 13 to 13, Orangutan. They've restarted it back again. 29 kills to Badman. I mean, the opening that he got, knowing that there was a slight hilt of the wall which wasn't properly covered. For a moment there, I thought Metal Esports got things under control, but man, oh man, Tesseract did a lot of work from that. Even more so, Easy missing that first initial shot was very much more problematic on that defensive hold. OG knows this. It's a B execute, and now Metal Esports, they want to get this control so bad. They want to remove Doctor, but no, he's very good on his shots. Even more so, the same thing can be said to God Vexy. Headshot of that to take out Tesseract and Vibor. Vibor's looking so powerful. But he's not working out. It's Doctor, the coach for OG, who will give a chance for Team Orangutan to force this match on towards the deciders. And Easy, he needs to sort this stuff out. Looking so powerful, chokeholds and their control, and even more so, the win on this round. 14 to 13. Now it's Orangutan's turn to win their attack rounds.
I can't help but think that for medal, this is going to be a really, really difficult position to make your way out of because their rounds have been so good thanks to their retakes, right? But the issue is for Orangutan, right now their effectiveness has come through trading, and so it feels like what medal's skill has been is setting Tricky in first. Gets a kill, sometimes gets traded, sometimes doesn't, and then Badman sort of cleans up the mess. The issue is, though, how frequently can that happen? Because when you rely on aim, it becomes unpredictable. And relying on these openings is really a double-edged sword for medal here.
You know, when it comes to overtime, 14 to 13, you always have that tension, that pressure. You make one single mistake and easy, he is making a lot of it. It was the same thing on the previous round and also the same thing on this round as well. And missing a lot of shots like that will give an opening for Orangutan, a really necessary one to be even more deep towards the side itself. And now it's just tension will just rise around.
Spike down A.
Medal is still here. They're holding their ground as best as possible, but I think they will succeed. It's just Vibor who's left in a 1v2.
Oh, I'll tell you what, a little. Maybe he's got a bit of bite to him. Only 30 HP, though, which means that Ezzy at point blank with this Valve. Vandal now is going to be able to do a fair bit of damage. It's laboured, sure, but they are able to get that kill. And once again, medal, they seem to almost outposition Orangutan, because it feels like Orangutan just sort of cascaded into their crossfires there. Really, really clean round, sure, but I'm really interested as to which player is going to give the victory here, right? Everyone's trading. Sometimes it's Badman who steps up. Sometimes it's Vibble who steps up. We saw that round as well. Vibble was very, very damn good. But here's the thing, Baba. Who else is going to be the one to watch out for? Who is going to be the sole reason we either see a third map or a 2-0?
I have no idea, Trevor. I have no idea at all. Doctor, he's just love playing as a sentinel. He just delivers the most impactful shots. And that's the main reason why OG is still in this match for a very long time. But let's not forget about Batman. Oh, never mind. I think we might need to because Tesseract might have been eliminated him. Even more so the second one to gain immediate control on B Tower. This is looking good for OG, but not for long. Easy is still alive and still kicking, which means that shooter has to come back. He needs to give protection for the team. And he kind of still feels like they might go in for a big rotate back in the A side itself. Spike is still at their hands. Godvex is currently the one who has Spike at hand, but he forgot about Tesseract.
Spike down.
Crit shot, and with it, he'll be able to get his tour de force. Long angles and easy. He needs to clutch this 1v2. Oh boy, tension is real. Does he get the shot? No, it does not. It would be Tesseract with the quad kill, which means that the show still lives on. And OG, they need one more round to win on attack.
Point.
Oh boy, this is.
It's just who wins their attack round first, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whoever wins the attack round has won this. And every time we think, Medal might take it, Tesseract steps up. Every time we think, actually, maybe it's OG, Badman steps up. We could be in this game could go on for eternity, Baba. We could be caught in a perpetual match of fracture. Good luck. We may need to grab a drink in a second.
Or we might end up in a loophole. Who knows? But talk about loopholes, Fox. Oh boy. Good opening pick. Even more so, the angles just working out perfectly well for Medal's end. OG still here, the doctor. But is it more than enough to succeed? Batman is playing so close towards the smoke that the enemy team has placed in. He's still alive.
Teleport's ready.
It's still 3v3. We cannot even predict on what's going to happen next. It's always the defenders who always gets the upper hand. The trade will come in at the hands of Easy. All he needs to do is just take out Doctor and Tesseract and you are good to go. But oh no, he misses the shot and even much more detrimental. They have the hand under control. They have this. Post round will be theirs. It is 1v2. No, it's actually 1v3. I just realized Doctor has the resurrect. Oh boy, they've got this match under control and there you go, OG. They finally done it. They have won the attack round, which means the show's not over. We are heading off to the deciders, Kremer. And boy, oh boy, did OG just made a fantastic comeback.
I can't help but feel like OG definitely capitalized off of Medal's mistakes there. Feels like Medal definitely threw them a lot of rope to pull themselves out of the hole they dug for themselves. I think for OG, credit where credit's due, being able to just shut down Medal there, but that was only done because Medal threw them a lifeline. Medal really blundered towards overtime and during overtime, which OG were just able to punish again and again. That second half was not pretty. It always feels like there were no winners here, but nonetheless, we get to see our boy, the Doctor, the coach, is going to live for another map. We're going to have to see what they're going to be able to do on our third and final map, I believe, of Icebox, which is going to be a really, really interesting change of pace between these two teams. Something we can really look forward to in the future.
Yeah, really can't wait for map number 3, the Deciders, Icebox. Man, what plays do we get to see from Medals, and even more so on Team Orangutan. And I really can't wait what's going to happen next on the Deciders itself too. Boy, oh boy, was it a match to see. As we take a look at the highlights itself, at the first half, we saw how powerful Medal Esports were on attack. The same thing can be said to Team Orangutan too on the second half as well. It was just back and forth kills, and Badman, my goodness, as the controller, he dealt so much damage towards the opposition team. And Tesseract was actually a bit silent in the first half, and then you get to see him make a lot of presence being made in the overtime match one itself. Easy, on the other hand, he did a fantastic job with the op shots, but unfortunately, it started to he started to miss a lot of initial important picks itself, right, Kremer? Not once,
You're
did
right.
he,
Yeah.
not once, not twice, but there was a lot of missed shots that we saw from Easy's end that could have made an entire change from Medal. They could have just ended out on a 2-0, but it did not
Yeah.
happen.
You're right, and you can't fault OG for being able to be tenacious enough to not tilt, and more importantly, to be able to pull themselves back. That was a match which you were tilted at. You know, we see a lot of missed shots. We see a lot of kind of players in bad positions, not checking corners. This is on both teams. The fact that OG were able to keep their composure long enough into overtime to be able to take it is a very good sign to me, but it's also a worrisome sign, the fact that it had to go to overtime.
Yeah, but all in all, Orangutan, I'm just glad they got this match back under control, because map number
Yeah,
1, they lost their
absolutely.
own map pick, and now they have succeeded in bringing it back up by winning Medal Esports' map pick as well, especially on a map like Fracture. And at this point, if you say map Icebox being a decider map, you could say this can go to overtime as well, right, Kremer? Because we've seen how promising the shots were, how impactful rounds that we saw from both Orangutan as well as from Medal Esports. But we also need to think for the fact that when it comes to a decider map, you still need to know about the fatigue. You need to ensure that you have enough amount of endurance that you can hold out on a map like Icebox. They're in the third map. So it always comes down to this: how can they endure the amount of plays that they've seen, and how long can they adapt to the situations from both Orangutan side as well as on the side of Medal Esports end too.
Now that we sort of look at these highlights, it really just showed that that was a lot of punishing mistakes and very little proactive plays, actually. A lot of it was just reactionary stuff from the first mistake that was made. And I think on Haven, it was something Medal did really well. But over on Fracture, maybe it's fatigue that sets in a little bit there. But I can't help but think that it was a little bit shaky from Medal. Yes, OG won. Congratulations to OG. Tesseract, of course, the MVP. I don't think anyone's going to try and contest that. A really bloody good game from Tesseract. To be able to be that rock that anchors OG in place, to be there as Mr. Consistent, who's able to bring them that not only overtime, but then that victory in overtime.
Yeah, getting that victory for Team Orangutan is they'll have a good time, that's for sure. But that job's not over yet. Decider is still in, which means that on map Icebox, things will be a bit dicey for either of these two teams, but we just have to find out on exactly what will happen. But also, folks, don't forget to get your free tickets right now for the TEC event. Link is in the description. You even get to see it on the pinned comments. So make sure to get your free tickets right now on 12th, 13th, and 14th August. Mark your calendars because this will be the biggest event in the TEC history. But for now, folks, in order for that to happen, I mean, for now, you guys go ahead and register for the event. Until then, we'll be taking a short little break and we'll be right back for deciders.
From the legends of memory and storage, Crucial brings you the ultimate performance in gaming. Legendary products, precision engineered for speed and stability. Crucial Ballistics. legends of memory and storage. Crucial brings you the ultimate performance in gaming. Legendary products. Precision engineered. For speed and stability. Crucial ballistics.
AMD and Windows 11 presents the Esports Club Challenger Series, powered by Crucial and our broadcast partner of Loco. We just saw a hell of a match between Medal and Orangutan, but this has not been settled. The die is still yet to be cast as we move into our third and final map of Icebox. On Fracture, Orangutan had to take it to overtime to topple Medal. However, what matters is they were able to do it. Forcing us to our third and final map means that we have got some beautiful Valorant for you guys to see in the coming couple of minutes. Of course, I can't talk you through it alone. I'm your caster Kramer 3. I'm joined by the amazing Baba. How are you feeling about this one?
Yeah, I'm feeling great, Kramer, and never have I ever expected a decider to come out at the hands of Orangutan. Man, that overtime was pressuring. I mean, it was
Yeah.
nerve-wracking in the beginning. You have no idea on who will get the advantage at first, but in the end, it had to happen, right? So it will be Orangutan who will succeed map number 2, which means decider is unlocked, and it will be on Icebox nonetheless. Now, if you talk about the coordination, or should I say the agent spec, which has been brought out from both Metal Esports and Orangutan, Metal Esports has no changes in their pick, right? You have double Sentinels, the Duelist, the Initiator, and of course you have the Viper, which is very much crucial on map Icebox. But do you think there will be some changes being made from Orangutan's end?
Honestly, I think for Orangutan, they overextend quite a bit. And we see them sort of end up peaking one at a time. I think if they can keep it a little bit tighter, if they can start pushing on their own, and or as a group, sorry, as a unit, then I think they could be in a pretty good spot. But that being said, Medal also made some mistakes. What are you expecting Medal to sort of change going into this?
I could say from Easy's end, missing a lot of shots like that from overtime match point really does put a lot of pressure towards Metal Esports' end, right? Because this is deciders. When it comes to a decider map like Icebox, you need to ensure that you're not exhausted from all the two matches that you have, both from Haven and Fracture, and you need to make sure that whatever strategies that you have, you need to execute it right. One single mistake that Metal Esports does would give a lot of opportunities towards Orangutan, because Orangutan, they have just one map number 2, which means the amount of positive vibes that they have on their side will immediately cement their ground towards the decider map itself. So all in all, Metal Esports, they had the chance in map number 1. The only difference is, can they get to do it on map number 3, Icebox?
Can I get a prediction from you, Bubba? Who do you think is going to be winning this?
Oh,
Personally, I'm leaning to Medal, but what about you?
you know what? I'll go for Orangutan. Why not? Orangutan, they've
Oh,
made
all
an
right.
impressive plays, so I'll go with Orangutan. Why not? Let's go head to head, Kramer.
Okay, we can go head to head. Let's see who's going. Let's see who's going to rise to the occasion. Personally, I it feels wrong saying Medal because I genuinely think Medal will win this, but I really want OG to win this purely because the Doctor's having to play. The Doctor is in, and right now Medal have run out of apples. So I'm really, really, really hoping we get to see the Doctor just have a lights out game. Drops kind of 45 kills, doesn't even allow Medal to get one round, single-handedly carries OG to victory and to further victories. Unfortunately, the coach may not be able to do that.
Yeah. But all in all, I could say Doctor has made an amazing job, both by playing as the Sentinel as well as the Initiator. Although on Haven it didn't work out too well from his end, but using the Resurrect at the right time, giving them the advantage, especially on post-plant situation, really put Metal Esports on the edge. And now, talk about map number 3, we have no idea what's going to happen. Batman is doing the best when it comes to being as the controller. You even have Easy, who was looking very confident on the first half, but suddenly it started to drop down a bit in the second half itself. But I believe with deciders coming in play, they will give it all they've got, Kramer. I can assure you that.
For sure. Let's talk about win rates for a second because both these teams are bloody good at Icebox. You've got Medal, who currently boasts a 60% win rate. That's pretty good. I would argue that's respectable. That is the signs of a map that you may want to bring into your vetoes. But then you look at Orangutan, who currently have a 90% win rate.
Oh.
And both teams have played this map the same amount of times. OG are just disturbingly good. And what I think is quite interesting here is, and we should have said this in the start, very start of the series, and we'll say it again now, is Tesseract actually gets booted off the Sova to go for a more duelist role, which I really, really like, because it means that Tesseract is a bloody good aim. He does it on the Sova, so why not put him on the chamber? It makes sense perfectly, right? And it also means the coach can take a little bit more of a less of a frontline role, so they can still coach a little bit.
And also, that's I have to agree on that, Kramer. But talking about the important issue that I have to talk about right now is that TEC Arena, which will happen on August 12th, 13th, and 14th. Go get your
Arena?
tickets right
Wow.
now. Yeah, TEC Arena, that's the name of it. It is
Wow,
free of
sure.
cost, folks. All you got to do is just head on into the description, or even more so, it's on the pinned comments. Go ahead, get your free tickets right now for the TEC Arena, and we might be able to see you guys in the best of the Indian Gaming Festival that we're about to have in Bengaluru. So we cannot wait to see you guys in there. But for now, let's just focus on the deciders. Map number 3. This is all it. It's all or nothing for Medal Esports and Team Orangutan. They have made a good share of fair fights, and now they're here to fight it once again.
But Baba, to go to a LAN, surely that must cost an arm and a leg, or something like that. It must cost so much to go to an arena run by TEC.
No, it does not. It's free of cost, Grammar.
Free!
Yeah.
Literally no reason to not go. And for now, Tricky, no reason to not peek him because he is feeling pretty damn crisp. Sends Tesseract to the afterlife. Shooter is instead going to be wary of a few flanks that could potentially come via mid. While the rest of Orangutan are set up, getting ready to hit this ace site. The lurking shooter is shut down by Easy. Solid start now. The Doctor tries to chime in. Coach is going to be good for one, but what else you got? Coach, tag me in. Unfortunately, Fox is going to be able to tag him out, leaving Ember in a 1 versus 4. Flank coming from a bad man, one of the heroes of Medal in both Haven and our last game. Unfortunately, his antics weren't quite able to garner them the 2-0, meaning he's here not just with a vengeance, but more importantly, with a bit of a death wish.
It's a 1v4 and Ember. He doesn't have any information regarding the rest of the players though. You'll find one and it could be Godvexy, but you still have Badman on the other side to give protection. And the first round will be at the hands of Medal Esports. A strong start for them. They've only lost Fox, which means that they have necessary utilities that they can hold on to on a map like Icebox. Even more so, bringing in the Jet could cause a lot of great defensive holds from Tricky, or maybe we could see Shooter do some amazing execute from the side itself. Who knows? But for now, I kind of feel like Team Orangutan wants to make a presence being shown from the mid side itself. You see a lot of pings being shown, so maybe we could see we could see them currently playing for picks itself. Tesseract will be able to find one information at least, knowing exactly where Godvex's location. But other than that, I don't think that they have the rest of the other players' positionings in the hands of Medal.
All right, for now, Tesseract. He's got pretty deep into towards kitchen without being spotted yet, but he does make noise. Vexy is going to be ready to peek off the back of that. The Sova is going to be able to garner quite a bit of control, and actually, Orangutan just don't even want to peek, knowing that the Sova could be there to punish it. Ezzy is going to be able to get quite a bit of control off the back of it, with Fox getting the opening kill though. First blood won't be the only blood though, as they exchange a few more shots. However, no one's quite able to send anyone to join the Sage. As Vibor as well, with only a classic, it's having to be a little bit passive here and be wary of the fact this Marshall is a one-shot trip to hell.
Oh boy, the Marshall shot from Tricky. Working good for the first, doesn't get the second though, but it may... Oh ho ho! That's a good hipfire shot from Tricky. Fox is here with the support, and even more so, they won't have any problems at taking out Doctor as well. Round number 2 back at their hands, 2-0. Good amount of ultimate toss from their hands. Even more so, Fox, all he needs for him is just get 3 more kills and he'll be able to get his Resurrect back in action.
kill.
Right, for now. Here's the thing, right, which is Medal usually take quite a bit of time to warm up. Orangutan have started by leading every map we've seen so far. The fact that this is the first time Medal come out swinging, it's a bit worrying, Baba, I won't lie. However, we do have the regular people in the chat who are asking, who is the Doctor? Well, the Doctor, that's the point. No one knows his name. He's Doctor Who. But this Doctor is the coach of Orangutan. Because the Duca currently has an appendicitis, he's having to step out to go to hospital while he has his appendix removed. And because of that, it's going to be down to the Doctor, the coach of the team, to stand in. The Doctor, though, is a pro player. He used to play for Action PH and VCT APAC, so he definitely knows what he's doing. Only recently turning to coach. And Batman only recently turning into Tesseract. He gets a kill. The wrong man. He's taken down the wrong target. Fool. But it doesn't matter because the rest of OG, with their superior weapons, are able to chime in. 2 more casualties are going to be sustained for Medal, while the Sheriffs now, the bonus, you could say, is going to try and do a little bit more damage onto Orangutan here.
They've only just removed Tesseract out, but even more so, Medal, they're just not looking too good on this. Fox will be there, so does Tricky. Oh boy, that's a good value coming in on the bonus round itself, which means that it's a 1v2 situation. There is high likelihood chance that Fox can succeed if he gets to take out the Doctor, but no, it won't happen. You get the quad kill and ensure that they would gain assurance to win round number 3. A good hold and a great execute being made, and with the help of necessary weapons to proceed with the execute, they will ensure to have a good hold on round number 4 as well.
All right, and now for a rough spot. Now, Orangutan did take a lot of casualties in what was meant to be one of their stronger rounds. Losing 3 players against the bonus and then almost losing a 4th is going to leave quite a harsh sting, especially now you move up against the full buy in the middle. And on topic of full buy, Fox spots out Shooter. Oh, he's so good. As Amber now, at point blank, doesn't really have a teammate to rely upon. So the aggression now of Easy can't go too far because of Tesseract, but it doesn't have to go too far because Medal already have a man advantage. And this is where the stratagem of Icebox varies from Fracture, where we see for Icebox, if you get a kill, you just back off. You don't need to fight. However, if you are on if you're on any other map, if you get a kill, usually you press that advantage and you try and just wipe. In this case, though, OG, they back off, they re-engage, they shut down the mid player, but they're still got a minute on the clock with no real control.
Yeah, and that is going to put Medal in a very disadvantageous spot, though. Although they're looking good when it comes to holding their sides, they got the information regarding Chamber's whereabouts. Even more so, they even get to cement their hold because of that from that resurrect being made from the stage's end. Everyone is present, which means that the only disadvantageous situation there is at the hands of Team Orangutan. They've planted the spike, just need to hold their ground, and if Doctor gets to succeed in getting at least a kill, he would get to use his Hunter's Fury, and that's why you get to see him play near the yellow boxes. Tricky, it will be forced to take out the Sova, an important one, and Medal Esports, they have no fear at all. They'll get to clean up the entire hallway of B Green as well. 3-1, and now you could say that Medal Esports have things under control.
What is quite strong from both these teams, and this is, remember, there have been some pretty pitiful rounds in this series. What both teams have done consistently well is their retakes. Medal, once again, just a clean retake on B. It wasn't that Orangutan particularly did anything wrong, it was just Medal were on point there, with both their utility, with their assistance of one another, with their trades, and then with just killing. Incredible aim, and just like that, Medal, they go 3-1 up. Look at the economy as well. Orangutan, yes, they have an ult advantage, and this Hunter's Fury may be used to just get a man advantage, but with no weapons, there's no real point in committing it here.
Commitment is exactly what Orangutan needs, but losing a gunfight like that will make matters even much more worse. And talk about them losing both the Duelist as well as the Sentinel really ensures a huge success rate for Medal's defensive hold. They're just patiently waiting. They know at what time they would be in that particular spot, and Tricky almost rips out. He didn't have the information regarding Wibo's whereabouts, and because of that, he gets picked out. They will equalize it nonetheless. They have a chance, and with that Viper Spit, it will be even much more detrimental for Metal Esports for them to succeed.
I love that. I really like the fact we're seeing a Viper Split committed here. It's sort of prime timing. You're in the 3 versus 3. It's a round that's not necessarily a must-win, but it is for comfort. So I really, really like this. And for Badman as well on the high ground, it mitigates that advantage he has. Drops down, Vibor's there. Third of the round so far. Right now, Vibor's lugged every member of Orangutan onto his shoulders. He's going, right, you're coming with me. Ezzy, through the smoke, is good for the first, but does he anticipate this? The second and third player. Really well-placed darts there, Ezzy. Low HP is able to get out of this smoke. However, point blank, Vexy's taken down, as is Vibor, though. Goes down to the 1 versus 1. Swing out, Ember. Low HP, Ezzy will be finished off. And Orangutan, with a couple of bit pistols, going to be able to find themselves their second. A thrifty round, as is notorious in SA. They get reason.
Yeah, this is huge. Especially with Vibo's great usage of that Viper spread. Really ensured that they could get succession of that round. Team Orangutan, even though they didn't had a great start in the first rounds, the pistol round even more so on the second round itself. I'm really glad. I'm glad that Orangutan is recovering those important rounds. Even more so, winning a thrifty round of that too clearly shows that Orangutan has their control on their economic growth as well. So it is looking good, but also you need to make sure that it wouldn't get picked out quite early, especially from Tricky, who just Tricky and both I believe Sage was also there from their end too, who just made an absolute menace, not letting them push in towards the A side. And now, since they have their momentum under control, things will be even much more dicier for Metal Esports. Don't they have to hold their ground? And Ember, he might be able to get the pick that he needs. 2 kills from his end. You still have 2 more players to hold their ground, and God, Vexy, not a lot of shots that he can succeed. And my goodness, what an upset. What an upset. I just don't know what to say. What an upset.
How do they get away with that, brother? Look at Ember, who just mouse one W keys his way through a gap in the Sage wall. Look at this! And he survives! What? There are no winners. There are no winners in this round. I mean, sure, Orangutan can win it. But, oh boy, they go into the 7th round with an ult advantage, a cash advantage as well. As the Tour de Force comes out to try and counter them.
There's a shot that Tesseract needs. Actually, no, it was easy to get the kill. Oh boy! Doctor!
Kill my allies.
And that's a huge blow to the back for Metal's end. This is looking good from OG. The Hunter's Fury taking out 2 players in one shot from Doctor has just paved the road for Orangutan to make their move, and it is daunting. Last man standing, it's Badman. Viper Spit in hand, and not a lot of information regarding their whereabouts, and Tesseract won't have any problems taking out the last player too. A 3v4 of that. And my god, I think the main reason why they had a lot of problems in the previous round, Kremer, might have to do with the fatigue, right? I mean, this is the 3rd map, and then suddenly you get to see a lot of, you get this a lot of confusions being happening from the side itself. So no matter what positions that you're in, maybe that fatigue really did cause them to make decisions which they weren't supposed to make. Who knows?
Yeah, and what I think is quite interesting is the fact that the Doctor's waking up a bit, I think. When you practice, and as someone, I own a pro team, when teams practice, they do it in batches of 3. So at least our team would go 3 scrims, break, 3 scrims, break, and then you would space each scrim out with a little bit of either a demo watch or go back over a replay. But you're always doing something for those words, and usually kind of 3-4 hour block. Assuming it's the same universally, I would imagine that Orangutan and Metal should be pretty used to playing 3 maps in a row. That being said, in a tournament environment, of course, the added pressure definitely attributes to fatigue, but both these teams are experienced. While Metal may be a newer team, they've got experienced players.
I have to agree. I have to agree on that, Kramer. I mean, we really did get to see that on map number 1 itself, on how powerful Medal Esports were. The same thing can be said to the second map itself. Vibor, perfect timing to take out Badman. There goes your controller. No more lines of sights, which could help the defenders to hold their ground, which means that things will be even much more problematic from Medal's end. Losing an opening pick, losing mid control will give a lot of chances and a lot of opportunities for Orangutan to make their execute. All it needs is to find the information on the rest of the teams and see whether if they can salvage a post-plant max or a succession of that round to ensure that they can get themselves in the lead 5-3. And you could say that Orangutan, despite having a lot of problems in the second map itself, winning overtime did give them a chance, which means that Orangutan, they're still not out of the game just yet. The same thing can be said for Medal Esports too. And now, with the information being given from Trixie's whereabout, they are here to make the play.
You're right, and with the assault ready to come in, it's going to be a little bit of a laboured shot by Shooter there. He is able to get away though. Instead, there's going to be a really strong afterplant position now for Orangutan. Lexi just trying to get info, trying to get ready to launch this assault, but let's be honest, the Rats are in such good afterplant positions. They've already got the Viper flanking as well. How'd you get onto this site, especially with the Doctor just doing Doctor things? He's going to lose that license. The Hippocratic Oath is a mere suggestion to him as Orangutan go 5-3 into the lead now. Really dominant start, and they've just thwarted any of Medal's attempts to get off to a good showing.
Yeah, they really do. I mean, for OG, things are looking very good from their end. But for Medal, though, I'm not quite sure what's happening from that end. I mean, we did get to see Badman being, torn to pieces, especially from B-Tube. So at this point, he's not going to do the same thing again. Obviously, he would. But all in all, it's still a full buy. So there's still a chance for Medal Esports to fling back, see whether if they can get to take out the controller, Vibor, as best as possible. But it always comes down to the lurks. And talk about the lurks, and Tesseract is the one holding out the flanks, see whether if any aggressive plays would be denied at the hands of him. But it's just a silent round for now. They're just playing for picks. Smokes are present, which means that one single information or usage of ability would at least try to have them a sense of understanding that there might be some players from the B side, even more so on A. You even see the Viper placing his wall in towards the B side. So clearly, you could think that Orangutan might make an execute from B, or it can be a fake where an entire A execute can come in the hands. And Badman, he's the only one in the side, so he's prepped and ready with his own smoke. And with the help of God Vexi, all it needs is just perfect timing to remove the players one by one.
The issue with timing is that when it doesn't add timing, luck does play an element into it, and luck doesn't always go your way. Vexi proves that with an opening shot. Hello? Removes Fox from, well, reality in this case, and he's even going to try and shift up behind this Viper's Pit as well. It's a really well-placed Viper's Pit. With Tricky good for one, there is the trade. Vexi comes in, Badman finishes the job, shoots out with 8 seconds in a 1 versus 3. There's nothing he can do there. He's going to have to try and run, but Ezzy won't even do that. 5-4. Medal. Whoa, where did that come from, Baba? Really, really strong round from Badman there. And even though he doesn't kill many players, the decision to hold on to that Viper's Pit and then commit it so late is just perfect.
Man, I didn't expect that a Viper's Pit would be used immediately on the A side. And even if it did, the amount of time that Orangutan had was just so low. They didn't had much. And it's just... sometimes it's always pressuring to think that they're losing a lot of time on the attack, because they're the ones who needs to be, making those important plays, especially from Duelist's end. Tesseract though, oh boy, he was about to remove God Vexi out from mid, but the timing itself clearly shows that they don't have things under control. They only have a single trap being placed right from the A flank, but mid control is still not in their hands. So it's a full-on B commit. That commitment might prove to be useful for OG, especially with shooter. Okay, Doctor. What was that?
What?
What did he just do, Doctor? My goodness.
Excuse me!
You just woke me up.
What? Well, that was revolting. Tricky's able to get Tesseract elsewhere. The Geneva Convention, but there must be something in that. That's wrong on the Doctor. Please behave yourself. Bad man's going to try and follow it up, though. Good luck following up that. Zeba shuts them down. The Doctor as well, still with a lot of ability to wield here, but it's not needed. Bibble good for one more. Tricky left with 10 HP here. Switches to the Blaze Storm, but it's the Doctor aptly to give the killing blow. What was that, Baba?
To be honest, Kramer, what was that from Doctor? Like, what was that? Like, it was so fast, Kramer, even my eyes couldn't follow that. What was that flick? Jesus! Oh, man. Yeah, I think we still need a breather for that one, but boy.
Yeah, can we get a caster timeout? Like,
Yeah, can we get a caster's timeout, guys? Come on.
the Doctor, man. He's the coach! and he's currently top fracking on the server by quite a distance.
I got the
Tesseract chimes in with a quick kill onto Ezzy. Shooter as well, sort of probing around in mid here. Does have to be careful about what angles he fights here for the time being, because the rest of Medal, look how fanned out they are.
Yeah, they are fanned out. Oh, man.
Here.
Not really losing easy immediately from the early rounds clearly shows that
Here.
there might be one side which will be easier for the attackers to push, and there you still get to see Godvax is still holding out from the mid side. Oh, information from the peak. He'll just gladly fall back at the right time. He's not going to give away his positionings that easily. Even more so, he's not going to let them take his life. But they have the information nonetheless. Vibor, though, on the other hand, looking at a very powerful positioning.
down B.
They still don't have spike control in their hand. They don't have spike control in their hands. Resurrection's being made, which means the Doctor is back. So does Godvax using his Hunter's Fury. But he forgot about Vibor. The look that he did is just so powerful. That is going to put at a disadvantage. Vibor back at it again with the second kill. Tricky goes down, which means that is Bad Man with the Spectre in hand, all by his lonesome. And all he needs to do is just get a kill. Hopefully get the information, but oh no, it's too late. His position has been compromised by that missed shots. I can understand as a Spectre having a long range like that is quite difficult to land the shots with. But in the end, we all know what is the end result, folks. It is Shooter who will get the final frag. Headshot to take out Batman. It's 4-7. We see
round
Team
in the
Orangutan be at a very crucial lead. But it kind of feels like we've been in this situation for
Deja
twice,
vu.
right, Timer?
Yeah.
It's like a it's like history repeats itself over and over again, and somehow, even though Medal Esports being the one at a major disadvantage in the first half, they'd always come back.
I've got a fun fact for you, by the way. I'll
Go
everyone
ahead.
here about humanity. It's going to make you really depressed, but you know the only animal and the only race, the only thing that's existed that has consistently made the same mistakes again and again and again for thousands of years is humans. We're the only ones who do it. We are fundamentally flawed, Baba. We are broken. And that's how we can explain all the problems in the world. Because, hey, some guy did it 200 years ago. It's okay. Orangutan, 7-4 in the lead with an ult advantage.
Yep, they have. And they are looking very good in this round for Team Orangutan. Don't have to worry about Medal Esports having good amount of weapons. I mean, you still have Guardians to deal with from Tricky. But other than that, they won't have much problems from this end unless Easy has something else to say with the Spectre. No, he does not. Shooter will gladly get that first. Second kill shouldn't be much of a problem for him to deal with. Badman will be eliminated just like that. Even the Viper Spit has been committed in this round itself. Interesting. I mean, he has to because it's the last round. So it's looking very good for Doctor, Vibor, Shooter. Bladestorm is in, so does the Hunter's Fury, but it gets denied at the hands of Fox. The orb shot looking pristine as ever for Medal, but will it do the trick to take out the rest of the players from Orangutan?
That has to be careful here, Vexy. A Guardian is such a hit and miss weapon, and unfortunately for Vexy, it is a bit of a hit, a bit of a miss even. Vibor able to land a pretty well-placed snake bite. Shooter's able to even get a kill off the back of that now. Over the top as well, Shooter! Lovely 4K from him there as Orangutan finished the half 8-4 in the lead. And for me, that's a pretty damn good way to end the half. I won't lie. The only thing that is going to raise a few questions here is Medal started this map really well. And I think that if Medal do want to do some serious damage to Orangutan, they've got to start the second half well as well. If they lose the pistol round, if they lose the first buy rounds, Orangutan are just going to go hop, skip, jump, and win.
Absolutely. And Medal Esports, out of every single pistol rounds that we've seen, what's more interesting is that Medal Esports, they've always won their pistol rounds. Even on the first map, even on second. If you compare those maps itself, Medal Esports, they've always won their eco rounds. Even on the first half, also on the second. And OG, they've somehow ensured to come back in the second map. Or maybe I was a bit wrong about this. But eco rounds, not eco rounds. The pistol round itself, you could say that Medal Esports, they've always win those rounds, right? Eco rounds, I just cannot believe I said eco rounds for the third time. I was supposed to say pistol rounds. Pistol rounds is what Medal Esports an expertise at. So maybe if they could get to win in the second half, being the ones that they're on attack, and since the map is on Icebox, it is a bit defender favored unless and until actually it is attacker favored. I'm just saying something else. I do have to apologize for that, folks. But all in all, Medal Esports, they still got their chance. It is still 4-8. We've seen them be in the situation twice, and doing it for the third time can be a possibility to them.
Do you think that actually, regardless of sort of how the previous pistol rounds have gone, I can't help but think that, bear in mind, look how Medal have stacked up here. They're about to run straight into the aggressive setup from Orangutan. I can't help but think that the reality is these first like 2 or 3 bullets of this round are going to be what decides it, you know? It's such a knife's edge of a round.
A knife's edge. But for OG, if they have to get a strong lead in the second half, they have to win this pistol round. And I'm pretty much sure that Medal Esports won't give it that easily. Vibor, on the other hand, survives by the skin of his teeth. But the push has already been made, and Tricky, he is not looking too good when it comes to HP-wise, and Vibor will gladly get that. That's your jet gone, but the plant still needs to happen.
Spike planted.
They're looking good with that hold. Shooter is still here. He might be able to make some impressive plays. So does Easy. Not quite sure though, because Tesseract has got things under control, and now they're just pushing it deep. They know that they've got this side covered. Smokes are present. So does got Vexy, holding his ground, but he doesn't have any shock drones or shock darts to deny the plant. Even more so, they don't even have control on their man count itself. And now it's OG's turn to win that pistol. 9-4, 14 kills to Doctor. Man, he is on a tear.
This is now where things get worrisome for Medal. That pistol round was their ticket straight back into quite an even half. The fact that Orangutan have been able to snipe it from them definitely makes me worry. It really does. Bear in mind as well, for Medal, I can't help but think that they were so committed into getting that spike plant, they didn't necessarily fully clear the site first. And it was the polar opposite when Orangutan were on their attack. We saw them sort of really going quite deep towards kind of enemy spawn before they turn back and get the spike down. Opposite side of the spectrum here, Medal just want to put a fuse on the round, but Orangutan make sure that there's no one left to watch that fuse go to 0. So now it's going to be on Medal, who have actually gone for a cheeky force spy here. A big, big gamble.
Enemy man. If you want to put a whole stop towards OG's uncontrollable end of winning their rounds in the second half, well, maybe a difficult situation like a force spy round should do the trick, but if they lose this round, man, this will be even more devastating. How can you get to hold on bonus round? This could be an easy win at the hands of Team Orangutan unless and until they pull it off. But they just have, yeah.
Teleport's ready.
Gotta be careful here, as Ezzy, point blank, they haven't revealed it's a force buy yet. So you really have to be careful with how this peak goes out. There's the swing from Shooter, he gets too close. There you go, realise it's a force buy. Look at the reaction from Ember. Just dives away from the site, waits for the rest of the team there. Really nice bit of reactionary plays there. Tesseract now from above, realizing that Fox is going to be on a close angle, hopes for timing, however, Ezzy's able to finish the job. Ezzy's actually able to double down. This force buy, it was a big gamble, but it's paid off, Baba.
Yes, it does. Metal Esports, a job well done on their deciders. Oh boy, for a moment there I thought Metal Esports were going to lose the second half itself, but no, they've got things under control. And talk about the pistol rounds that I actually have this information right now. In Fracture, we've seen Metal Esports win both their pistol rounds in the first half as well as the second. And when it comes to Map Haven, Team Orangutan had won their first half on the pistol round itself. So Metal Esports, they were looking confident on second map, but on third, knowing that they brought in the force buy clearly shows that Metal Esports, they are looking very good. Even more so taking out Ember, who had the high ground control itself. Things will be even much more tougher for OG if they can't figure it out.
Right, and what's surprising for me is that Orangutan, they know this is a hit away, but having lost the first player, they've been very passive. They're going to wait for the spike to go down, but what they've done is they've allowed Medal to have time to put down that sage wall, to be able to get that plant, to be able to get to after plant positions. For Medal, what was a big gamble of a force spike has actually given them a ticket straight back into this game. Tricky needs to be wary of that recon dart. It's actually the Doctor, the coach, once again leading from the front. Good for another, but his team is falling. The Doctor himself is wounded down to just 4 HP as he's there to finish the job. As he really waking up in the second half. And for Vibble, it's a lovely shot on the Vexy, but there's no follow-up. And for me, Baba, Medal are making a comeback. Orangutan, they need to put the brakes on this as quick as possible.
This is a feeling of deja vu, Kremor. I can feel it. I can feel Metal Esports just fling their way back on the second half. And boy, oh boy, do they do a great job in doing so. 13 kills to Fox, a Sentinel, a Battle Sage being on the top of the leaderboards. But let's not forget about the Doctor too at the hands of Team Orangutan. 15 kills from this man right here. What a great performance being displayed from both of these teams. And the way how it's going, the amount of tensions that we've seen between Metal and Orangutan clearly shows that they've got what it takes to get the spot on the TEC Arena. It's the biggest LAN event and they want to give it all they've got. And look at that, fearless as ever Metal. They want to get the frag, and that frag will be huge for Metal. Trick and Easy. Getting those 2 picks will be so important, so crucial. And this will put OG in a very bad spot.
Really is now the Doctor. He needs this kill desperately. Swings out, spots the player. Now things are level pegging. Things start for chance. There's a resurrection for Medal, but the players who have died, they've been overextended. Trying to trade them is going to be, or trying to resurrect them is going to be very difficult here. With the Doctor getting ready to follow this up now. The Doctor swings out, good for yet another, man. But it's bad man to finish the job. Ember now looking to sort of Armanara about going through the station. It's going to be brave, but with Shooter from above is certainly going to help now. It's all on to 1 versus 2 from, oh no, from Vexy, but he just lights them up. Orangutan, for a split second, they lined up there, and Vexy is there to just punish you in the heartbeat of a moment. Such incredible reaction from him. More importantly, such an incredible way to be able to force out that peak. That sage wall, that smoke means that there's no other choice but to swing from the left there, hence why they line up, hence why he's able to punish you. And you see OG, they go straight to a timeout after that.
They are going to be angry for that, that is for sure. Man, a lineup like that. God, Vexy was so silent and now clutching at the most crucial round where OG had things under control. Boy, oh boy. Metal Esports, man. So many close encounters, and although Orangutan they get to win most of their rounds. It's always those crucial 1v2 situations where you get the better end of it. And Medal Esports, they have done a great job. Kudos to them. 7-9. They have won 3 attack rounds back to back in the second half, with the first pistol round not being in their favor. That force buy was a surprise, and that was a welcomed one from Medal's end.
It really, really was. What's surprising for me is how this has really been so close. Honestly, having seen that first half, I thought OG just win this. But now you get the second half, Metal have really woken up. And they have woken up to the point where they're winning rounds they shouldn't be. Point blank, Tesseract is going to be taken down. There's the loss of that Headhunter's one of your big sort of player removers, isn't it? With Classics, I mean, yeah, they can be good, but good, it's subjective. Good for a free gun, but is it good enough to hold back Metal? There is the odd Frenzy in the mix, but they're teetering on desperation here. The Doctor, this Marshall, and any other rounds would be quite rough to wield, but yeah, see, it's one of the strongest weapons Orangutan have.
Yeah, it's the strongest weapon of them all, and they just need to use it at the right time. And the amount of commitment that they're making in the A side really makes you wonder, will that smoke help for the defenders to hold their ground, or will it be in the favor of the attackers? Not quite sure. Ember gets the opening pick, so does Shaky. The damage has been done. It's still a 3v3 equalizer. Make that 2 as Shaky comes back yet again. Take out her take out the Artemis shooter. They've got the control on the side. They could go in for the plant. Lineup is still present from Vibor to deny the post plant. So does the Hunter's Fury. Doctor ensuring that Medal Esports would have a single time, but that's a lot of utilities being used. Just have to plant at the right time. Do they have the perfect opening? Does Vibor gets to succeed with his sheriff shots? A headshot is more than enough, but I'm not quite sure that's gonna happen. Godvex is here. He gets 2 more. Vibor goes down, and that is it. Medal Esports, they've got it back on track. 8-9, 1 more to equalize, and this decider, this is going huge.
This is really, it's not going huge. It's going, honestly, it's going tits up if you're on a Orangutan right now, because Metal, they are, not only are they winning, but they're doing so convincingly. Look at the cash they have. They've got about kind of 5-6k saved up post-buy. Furthermore, they're matching Orangutan results. Usually the silver lining you can take when you lose rounds like this, you've lost a fair few, is you can go, it's okay, I've got a few ults to wield, it's alright. That's not the case. It's even. And Metal now, the only thing that separates them is the momentum. The Doctor's good for 1. The Hunter's Fury is going to try and level the playing field. Vibor is able to avoid it, but instantly, Plant goes down. And just like that, yes, they lose a player, but they're able to respond to it with a plant. Vibor now swings to the other side of this position. Fox is there to punish it, and actually avoids quite a bit of utility in the process. Ember back through mid is going to get control of Tube, but that isn't going to make up for the fact that Fox is still lurking. This Fox may be on the run. Oh, he screams and everybody comes, but it's all on to Vexy. Another 1 versus 2. He did so well the first time. What can he do now? Unfortunately, he's in the wrong place at the wrong time. He is able to take down Shooter, but only Shooter. Orangutan, they scrape a 10th round.
Yeah, that smoke was a very good one from the Jet. Ensuring that Doctor wouldn't have any problems while defusing the spike will ensure Team Orangutan would stay in the game. 8-10, and this round was necessary. They've only won 2 defensive rounds. One was at the pistol round, and now the previous round itself. 20 kills for Doctor, and look at the utilities that OG has. Viper's Pit, Resurrection, Blade Storm, 2 Force, everything is present. So whenever if Medal Esports does stuff like that in the previous round, being so conservative towards Beast No Pile and also in towards being orange, and they had to recover it. And the amount of problems that Metal has right now clearly shows that they're in a bit of a stop, and with this Viper Pit it will be even much more problematic for them as the timer starts to tick out.
Take flight.
All right, and I was having a timer ticking out. Look how much time is left. A minute with what is arguably very little control from Medal here as well. If this pushed away doesn't work, and against the Viper Spirit probably won't, they've got to rely on the flank coming from mid. Luckily, Badman is able to deliver now. There's been a heavy commitment of abilities into this round. Shooter through the smoke, good for one, instantly traded, but Fox is just so quick with the resurrection. The decision making now forces Vidball actually out of his own smoke. And now, waiting on the other side of the rope, waiting for the swing. There's the first in his position. No, he's not able to double down either, so that's counteracted. But look at the low HP on the members of Medal now. The stage is able to use that in and out of the smoke, as does everyone else. So that moment of opportunity just thwarted. It's Tesseract from the flank, tour de force in hand. Tries to find an angle to work with, but this Viper's Pit, this counter Viper's Pit is so effective. Headhunter used, Fox punishes it. Fox, a lights out round now. And for the Doctor, now in this smoke, just desperately trying to make this life easier for them this whole time. The spike is sticking. Ember may make it a bit more useful. Badman chimes in, good for another. Caught out by Ember, and for Orangutan, that's 11. What a time to come alive, and what a time for Ember to wake up, who has had a pretty poor series thus far, is finally delivering the prowess we learnt to expect from him.
Yep, they finally got it. Team Orangutan, they finally got to broke the win that they have, that Medal had in the attack rounds. And boy oh boy, is it a right time for them to be back on defense. They've got the necessary utilities, they've got the necessary weapons for them to hold their ground, but at the cost of Viper's Pit, maybe even more so of the Resurrect, actually not Resurrect, Tour de Force and Viper's Pit, both of them was being used from the previous round. But now, OG, they're looking good on their score count, 8-11. Now all they have to do is just win 2 more rounds consecutively, be more consistent to ensure that Medal Esports wouldn't have an opening. And that opening will be used for either of them, and I believe we might have an answer to that. Shooter, Tesseract, everyone is present, and they just start to tumble down. They just tumble down on the B side.
Match point.
What a clean out, and just like that, they're in match point.
Absolutely just ruined. And Orangutan match and series point. It feels like you blink and you miss it. What's been such a methodical game from Medal seems to have just ended with not but a bang, but with a fizzle. They're left now with the best buy they can muster, Spectres, Guardians. There is a few Vandals, and they are one away from Hunter's Fury on Vexy, but that's it in terms of abilities. Those vault management of Orangutan themselves, while they don't have the abilities, they don't need them. They're 12-8 in the lead, Baba. This could spell disaster for Medal. In a series they really should have won. Tesseract's instantly down with the opening. Vbor's got the information as well. And Shooter, he's avoided everything. Absolutely perfect. And now the flank is good for another. Oh, Medal is starting to fall down, and the only Medal they'll be facing now, at least in this series, is going to be the bitter taste of silver.
Oh boy, what has happened to Medal? What just happened? They just fell down like a pack of cards. And now the information is being given, and the confirmation from the Doctor. And there you have it, folks. 13-8. OG will succeed with the Deciders. Boy, oh boy. What a way to end off the Deciders match on Icebox. And what a win for Team Orangutan.
You're absolutely right. They really, really did deliver. And more so, it was a really, really tough match to win. Let's be honest. We saw that pretty much start to finish. They were having to make up for their own mistakes. They were having to break their own momentum. Furthermore, OG on Haven at least, they really suffered. Medal were able to punish them, and even on Fracture, they really just did not have a pleasant time. We hit Icebox, and I just think that everything finally clicked.
Yeah, it did click. It did click in the hands of Orangutan. That is, of course, that's for sure. As we take a look at the highlights itself, man, this was a long match, and I've got to say there are a lot of memorable moments that we would love to talk about. With them bringing it back, I mean, Medal Esports almost brought it back in the second half. And the way how Doctor played, Doctor was insane with the Sova.
Yeah.
Hunter's
And-
Fury. Yeah, go ahead. Trevor.
Absolutely. I said that for me, the main victor, like the main MVP in sort of map 1 was going to be the Doctor. I said that as a prediction because, of course, we knew about his professional background. I didn't actually think he would beat the kind of main heavy hitters like Tesseract. The Doctor, for me, is MVP of this match. Just for rising to the occasion and then actually taking everyone down. What a game from the Doctor. And more importantly, what a way to show that Orangutan's methodology when it comes to YGLing is so free-form that you can bug a coach into the mix and still win.
But although, all in all, credit where credit is due, Metal Esports, man, you guys gave a tough fight. You gotta appreciate that. All the way from the qualifiers itself, they lost a chance to gain a spot on the first quals. They get to succeed in having a chance to be on the group stages in the second qualifiers, and now knowing that they have to go up against Team Orangutan, they gave it their best shot, and I have to appreciate that. I have to appreciate the way how Metal Esports played. Their performance was absolutely unique, and even though they did lose, in the end, they will be happy knowing that they've made their best performance on all of those 3 maps. You gotta appreciate yourself, Metal Esports. But all in all, in the end, a winner has to be decided, so it will be Orangutan who will win it out on 13-8. Yeah.
What's interesting as well, Baba, is this series. It's not just a Jubilee game. This isn't a show off. You got to qualify for something. What do you got to qualify for, Baba? Am I hearing LAN?
Oh, is it though? Ho, Team Orangutan. They're the first team who just got qualified for the LAN. Can you imagine that, man?
You could call them
I just
Team
realized.
Team Orangutan. They've made it. They've made it, and now they're going to be going to Bangalore, where they will be taking part in India's biggest esports festival. There's going to be cosplay tournaments. There's going to be a chance to meet some of your favorite content creators. You may even meet some pro players. You may even meet Baba here, who of course is going to be at the event. Hopefully, I'll be at the event as well. I'm just waiting for my visa to come through. Fingers crossed, but we'll have to see. Of course, though, you are going to be seeing many pro teams there. We have got the likes of Velocity, the likes of Enigma, the likes of Medal, and as we've just seen, what's guaranteed is going to be Orangutan, who take the series 2-1 in what was a fairly laboured fashion, but a victory nonetheless.
Yep, a well-deserved victory for Team Orangutan. 2-0 up against Team Anadi Army, and now 2-1. Defeating Team Metal Esports. As we take a look at the entire scoreboard itself, the MVP of map number 3, Icebox, Tricky with 16 kills, and Vibor, the controller, 20 kills. Boy, oh boy, what is that? That was an amazing performance from him. And how can I forget about the doctor himself? 22. Boy, oh boy, what a way to end it off. What a way to end off a match like that, folks.
I won't lie, almost 300 ACS as your coach. That is pretty bloody good, isn't it?
Yeah,
I'm
it is.
really impressed by him there. And to further that as well, over on Medal, yes, Icebox was a bit rough. That was their series to take. For a good portion of Fraction, we were convinced that was going to be a 2-0. I really was convinced that was going to be a 2-0. And that just speaks to the tenacity of Orangutan to be able to just keep fighting and fighting and fighting until they're finally given an inch, and then they take a mile.
Yes, they did. Metal Esports, man, the fight was so tough, but in the end, it was Orangutan who did adapt to the situation. Winning map number 3 will give them the confirmation on the LAN event, so they will be very happy about this. 16-14, 13-8. I have to say, on map number 2, man, easy. He did made his best share of efforts, but unfortunately, it still wasn't enough. There you go. That is the end of the second match, folks. Boy, that really did take a lot of time for that. 13-8, 16-4, 13-8 on map Icebox. It will be Team Orangutan will have their first spot in the LAN events. Congratulations to them. And also, folks, you could also join in on the action. All you got to do is just get your free tickets right now for the TEC Arena. Link is in description below and also on the pinned comments. 12th, 13th, and 14th August, folks. Don't forget about that. because this
You're
will be the
absolutely right.
biggest event in the TEC history, that is for sure. As we take a look at the standing itself, Group A, Orangutan, 2 victories. And now in Group B, we just have to wait and watch to see who will be the second team who will be qualified for the LAN event.
I can't help but think that Group B is rough.
It is.
Because with Enigma on 0-1, if you're reckoning, suddenly qualifying for this becomes a very real possibility. And the same for Revenant now. Having seen Medal drop to 0-1, another really, really strong contention. Of course, though, Baba, this wasn't just TEC. AMD Ryzen and Windows 11 have presented this Challenger series. We've been powered by Crucial and, of course, our broadcast partner of Loco. They've all made it all possible. Baba, as you know, I am very much not Indian. Do you want to explain to me what Loco is?
Yeah, well, Kramer, Loco is a it's a video platform being used for normal live streaming. So in India, you have a lot of content creators. So for Loco, it's a very good opportunity for them to head out, make some of most of your live streams then and there itself. So it is a good place to have your good growth towards new content creators. And for Loco, it's the best place to have a lot of entertainment towards the tournament itself. And also you get to see some new stars who might be able to rise in the Indian region.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I
it
like
is.
that. I might sign up to Loco. Maybe we'll do like a live thing from the booth at LAN. I don't know.
Oh.
We'll figure something out. But of course, that's the wonderful people at Loco. This has all been possible. So many thanks to them. Especially a big thank you to AMD Ryzen and Windows 11. Just so we'll be able to throw to Ants, but we'll throw to End. But before we do, huge congratulations to Orangutan for qualifying for the LAN, and commiserations to Medal, who will have to fight just a little bit harder to try and get that second spot going out of Group A.
Yep, congratulations to Orangutan. Once again, a well-deserved win for them to succeed. That deciders 2-1. And there you have it, folks. That is the end of the second match. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We all did. Kramer did. Even more so, the whole production team enjoyed this entire match. But unfortunately for us, it is time for us to bid our goodbyes. Hope you guys enjoyed it. This is me, Baba Gusta, with my co-caster Kramer 3. And we will see you guys in the next matches for group stages. Good night.
From the legends of memory and storage, Crucial brings you the ultimate performance in gaming. Legendary products, precision engineered for speed and stability. Crucial Ballistics.